Chapter 5105. You don't need to say that. Xiaohua sneered. Little brother already knew that there would be people who would disguise themselves as Taoist Xiao to deceive people. That's just a small trick. Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, there are more people who want to replace you. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Xiaohua put away the jade slip and said, our fortune gate is already preparing to establish a sect on the Dawn Rain mainland. These sects will merge into our fortune gate sooner or later. That's true. Zhang Qingxiao smiled and said, these small matters can be dealt with by your two disciples. It's not your turn to deal with them. Hee, second senior brother, don't be impatient. Xiaohua looked at Zhang Qingxiao and said meaningfully, little brother knows that you want to meet our fortune gate's other masters, but now is not the right time. How about I introduce you to them after I'm done with my matters? Zhang Qingxiao rolled her eyes at Xiaohua and said, who said I want to meet them? Why would I want to meet them? Xiaohua smiled and ignored Zhang Qingxiao. He turned to Xiao Xianrui and asked, senior sister, do you remember when master picked me up? Xiao Xianrui smiled and said, do you still need to ask? Not to mention me. Even second senior brother knows. I didn't ask master in detail that year. You can tell me briefly. Xiaohua asked. Xiao Xianrui saw that Xiaohua was serious and told him what she knew. Then she asked, little junior brother, why are you suddenly asking about this today? Zhang Qingxiao said, when little junior brother was picked up by master, he had already lost his memory. He suspected that his soul had been searched. Moreover, when he left the Dawn Rain mainland, he was chased by two nascent soul cultivators. Xiao Xianrui's cultivation talent was not good, but she was still an intelligent person. When she heard this, she understood something and exclaimed, could it be that two nascent soul cultivators joined hands to search his soul? Xiaohua sneered and said, how could it be so simple? Not only was little brother's soul searched, even little brother's Dantian and Naiwan palace were sealed. Damn it! Hearing this, Xiao Xianrui's expression changed and she said angrily, who is so hateful? Those two nascent soul cultivators? Although they are powerful, they are still not powerful enough to make millions of Meng Mountain's elders fear them. Xiaohua replied. According to what little brother knows, it was done by at least two divinity-severing cultivators. Spirit-severing stage adept. Not to mention Xiao Xianrui. Even Zhang Qingxiao was shocked. She asked curiously, little junior brother, you weren't even at the first level of qi refining that day. How could two spirit-severing cultivators seal you? Facing his two relatives, Xiaohua didn't hide anything and said, because I'm not a cultivator from Dawn Rain continent. I might have come from another world. Other realms. Zhang Qingxiao rolled her eyes and understood. She said, your cultivation technique is different from the Dawn Rain continent. You cultivate the Mud Pill Palace and the Middle Dantian? Not bad. Xiaohua nodded and said, so little brother suspects that when I broke into the realm, I was unconscious because of the influence of the realm's law. That was why the two spirit-severing cultivators took advantage of me and sealed me and searched my soul. Xiao Xianrui also echoed, the problem is, little junior brother, I can understand why they searched your soul. I'm afraid they wanted to know where you came from. But why did they seal you? They're not your enemies, are they? If they were your enemies, they could have just killed them directly. Why would they let you go for no reason? This is where little brother's doubts lie. Xiaohua looked at Zhang Qingxiao and said, now I know that it was Shan Shitzi from Immortal Ascension sect and Immortal Due from Shenla sect who chased after me. But I don't know who sent them, and I don't know the intention of those people behind the scenes. Just destroy Immortal Ascension sect and Immortal Le sect. Zhang Qingxiao suggested, it's better to let them go than to let them go. Xiaohua rolled his eyes at Zhang Qingxiao and said, you know I won't do that. Then we can only rack our brains to analyze the situation that day. Zhang Qingxiao shrugged and said, the spirit-severing cultivators from the two big sects won't come out easily. Why did they join hands to deal with you? A little cultivator. Yes, how did father meet you that day? Xiao Xianrui frowned as if she was thinking about something. But suddenly, she looked at Zhang Qingxiao like thunder. Zhang Qingxiao's eyes naturally flashed with a strange color. The two of them said in unison, Imperial Demon Valley. The battle between immortals and demons. The The battle between immortals and demons? Xiaohua asked curiously. Are you talking about the battle between immortals and demons in the Imperial Demon Valley? Yes. Zhang Qingxiao thought of the Imperial Demon Valley and seemed to have a feeling of connecting all thoughts. She clapped her hands and said, "It must be the battle between immortals and demons. Except for the battle between immortals and demons, there is no other thing in this world that can make the spirit-severing cultivators of the two big sects come out." Back then, Master went to the vicinity of the demon-resisting valley to see if there were any opportunities. However, his cultivation was shallow and his skin was thin, so he was too lazy to look for it. Thus, he returned empty-handed and picked you up on the way. And little brother, you must be a demon. It was in the battle between immortals and demons that you were injured and sealed by the two spirit-severing cultivators. Fortunately, you escaped from the Imperial Demon Valley. Otherwise, don't forget, how can you cultivate the cultivation method of my demon race faster than me? Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry and said, "Little brother is not a demon." This has been confirmed, but since second brother mentioned the battle between immortals and demons in the Imperial Demon Valley, it is consistent with the time when little brother broke in. It must be during the battle between immortals and demons. Little brother broke into the Imperial Demon Valley and was discovered by the two spirit-severing cultivators. The question is, why did they seal little brother? Xiao Xianrui said, "You have to ask the spirit-severing cultivators who participated in the battle between immortals and demons that day. However, what I want to ask is, how do you know that you broke in? Where did you come from?" "Where little brother came from, I'm not sure at the moment." Xiaohua shook his head and said, "But little brother found spirit pets and magic tools that crossed over with little brother from other places in the Dawn Rain continent, so little brother can be sure that he broke through the boundary and entered. If that's the case, then it's easy to handle." Zhang Qingxiao thought for a while and said, "You only need to get the list of those who participated in the battle between immortals and demons in the Imperial Demon Valley that day, and know how many spirit-severing cultivators participated in the battle between immortals and demons in the Immortal Music Sect and Immortal Music Sect. Then, you will immediately know the truth of the matter." "Where is the list?" Xiaohua frowned. "Haha." Zhang Qingxiao laughed and said, "This matter is very difficult for others, but it is very easy for me. Second brother is really resourceful." Xiaohua was surprised. "Haha, little brother, you don't know, but I have a chess piece beside the deputy leader of the Immortal Alliance." Zhang Qingxiao said proudly, "This chess piece has seen you several times in the early years." Huh. Xiaohua was surprised and asked, "Why is there an Immortal Alliance in the Dawn Rain continent?" "This person is called Zhang Zhihao, a confidant of the deputy leader of the Immortal Alliance, Luo Xingtian." Zhang Qingxiao said, "This Immortal Alliance usually has no use. It is used to mobilize troops in the great battle between immortals and demons. It is normal that you don't know." "Zhang Zhihao." Xiaohua frowned and said, "Little brother seems to have killed a cultivator called Zhang Zhihao in the past." "No way." Zhang Qingxiao was a bit stunned and immediately waved his hand and said, "Then it must be the same name. Wait a moment. I will send a message and let him find the list of those who participated in the great battle between immortals and demons." Xiaohua knew that this Zhang Zhihao must be a great secret of Zhang Qingxiao. In order to help him find the truth of the matter, Zhang Qingxiao sent a message at the risk of Zhang Zhihao being discovered, so Xiaohua hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Second brother, there is no need to be so anxious." "How can I not be anxious?" Zhang Qingxiao said, "The news of you returning to the Dawn Rain continent has not spread yet. When those spirit-severing cultivators with ulterior motives know of your strength, they will definitely hide the matter of that day. Don't think that your strength is already heaven-defying, but if it is just you or your fortune gate, it may not be easy to find the truth of that day, so I have to get the list before them." After saying that, Zhang Qingxiao thought for a moment and said, "I will go personally." "Second brother." Seeing this, Xiaohua smiled and said, "Don't be anxious, little brother will go with you, little brother still has something to tell you." Zhang Qingxiao looked at Xiaohua and said, "Why are you in such a hurry? Stay here and accompany junior sister to talk for a while." "No need, no need." Xiao Xianrui hurriedly waved her hand and said, "You are all busy, I am alone. There are Fortune Gate disciples here to protect me. You don't have to worry." Zhang Qingxiao nodded and said, "Then you go and pass the sect master's order, let the 100 Herbs Gate disciples submit to the Fortune Gate. Little junior brother and I will leave first. We will come back to see you when we have time. Okay. Xiao Xianrui agreed. After bidding farewell to Zhang Qingxiao and Zhang Qingxiao, she flew to the vanishing worship peak. Xiao Hua, Yuan Ya, and Zhang Qingxiao flew out of the yellow flower ridge. They had only flown a little over 100 li when Xiao Hua stopped. He thought for a moment and said, "Second senior brother, wait here for a while, little brother will be back soon." "Where are you going?" Zhang Qingxiao was a little confused. "Why don't you hurry?" Xiao Hua smiled and said, "Just a while, little brother will be back soon." With that said, Xiao Hua activated his space escape technique and flew away, leaving Yuanya to accompany Zhang Qingxiao. Yeah. Seeing that there was no problem, Zhang Qingxiao tried to find a topic. "Who are your Fortune Gate sect master and 10 old masters?" This. Yuanya was not as good at grasping opportunities as Xiongyi. He was a little hesitant as he didn't know if Zhang Qingxiao knew these things. Seeing Yuanya's hesitation, Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, "If you can't say, then don't say." Yuanya answered, "Let's wait for master to come back and ask him." "Where did your master go?" Zhang Qingxiao asked, looking in the direction Xiao Hua had flown. "That seems to be the direction of Jinghu City. Junior doesn't know." Of course, Yuanya didn't know, so he answered blankly, "P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a gift, and thank you for all kinds of support." Chapter 5106. Not long after, Xiao Hua turned around with a trace of disappointment on his face and said, "Let's go. Second senior brother, I've made up my mind. Come with me to Imperial Demon Valley first." Ha! Zhang Qingxiao was even more puzzled and asked, "Where did you go? Why did you change your mind as soon as you came back?" "It's nothing," Xiao Hua said with a smile. "Little brother suddenly remembered that there's a family surnamed Zhu in Jinghu City. It's little brother's old acquaintance. Little brother is going to take a look." Zhang Qingxiao understood and said with a smile, "It's been hundreds of years. Ordinary qi refining cultivators have already fallen. Not to mention ordinary families. I'm afraid you won't be able to find any traces of them anymore, right?" "Indeed." Xiao Hua nodded with disappointment and replied, "So little brother feels that things in this world are impermanent. Some things that should be done earlier." "Then why are we going to Imperial Demon Valley?" Zhang Qingxiao asked. "Second senior brother. You'll know when you get there." Xiao Hua didn't explain and only urged. After flying for a while, Zhang Qingxiao suddenly realized something. He looked at Xiao Hua and said meaningfully, "Little junior brother, you want me to accompany you to Imperial Demon Valley. Is it because you don't know the way to Imperial Demon Valley?" "Ha ha." Xiao Hua laughed and replied shamelessly, "The one who knows Xiao Hua is Zhang Qingxiao. If second senior brother doesn't take little brother with you, when can little brother find Imperial Demon Valley?" Cough cough. Zhang Qingxiao almost coughed out his tongue. He helplessly pointed in a direction and said, "Little junior brother, can you not be so bored? Imperial Demon Valley is over there. You have Yuan Yu accompanying you. Why can't you find it? Let's go." "I asked you to lead the way and you're still so long-winded." Xiao Hua pretended to be unhappy. He grabbed Zhang Qingxiao with his big hand and his figure swayed. The sound of thunder faintly came from the void. His figure disappeared in the blink of an eye. When he reappeared, he was already on top of a mountain range. This was a towering mountain range that stretched for thousands of miles. This mountain range was very strange. There were no trees on the mountain range, no birds or beasts, only crimson-red rocks. The surface of the mountain gave off a faint glow, and within the glow, countless talismans slowly rotated. However, although the talisman flowed like water, there were many places where the talisman was missing. When the radiance of the talisman flowed to these places, it was as if it had hit a reef. It would either stop or turn around. It wasn't particularly smooth. It was noon, and the sun was hanging high in the sky. The blazing sunlight shone on the crimson-red mountain rocks, giving rise to light. This brilliance was different from the brilliance of the talisman. It swayed with the wind, like a burning flame. Above the mountain range, high up in the sky, there was no wind or clouds. The layers of void were filled with a faint grayish-white color, which seemed to be the traces left behind by the battle between immortals and demons. Within this grayish-white color, there were black clouds that looked like mountain ranges. Of course, these black clouds had already been torn apart. They were like rocks in the waves, and they were scattered and condensed within. Even the faint sound of thunder could be heard in the void. Traces of lightning were like candles in the night, faintly discernible. This must be the Imperial Demon Valley. Although Xianxia had never been to the Imperial Demon Valley, he already understood when he saw the remaining restrictions between the mountain peak and the sky. Xianxia stood still and looked around. He raised his hand and pointed at the end of the mountain range. That is the entrance to the Imperial Demon Valley. It is said that during the battle, there were thousands of human cultivators guarding it. Now, there are only some disciples of the Immortal Alliance patrolling it. Back then, I was curious and came to take a look. However, the Immortal Alliance disciples were very powerful, so I didn't dare to get too close. Xianxia nodded slightly and looked at the end of the mountain range. There was a valley entrance that was hundreds of feet wide. The valley entrance was different from the mountain range. Now, it was firmly sealed by a strong formation, and not a trace of birds or beasts could be seen. The strong fluctuations of the formation spread out without any concealment, as if warning the approaching cultivators. At this moment, at the entrance of the valley, there were more than a dozen gold core cultivators wearing different clothes and holding different magic treasures in their hands. The 10+ gold core realm cultivators seemed to have a division of labor. 4 of them were guarding the entrance of the valley, while the other 10 gold core realm cultivators were flying in a seemingly disorderly manner in the sky in the shape of a battle array. After 5 minutes, another 5 gold core realm cultivators flew out of the battle array and flew towards where Xianxia was standing by airboat along the direction of the mountain range. There is a detection magic treasure on this flying boat. It is extremely sensitive. Xianxia reminded. Before he finished speaking, Xianxia felt a flash of light and shadow in front of him, and his body became light. When he opened his eyes again, he was already standing in the valley. The space inside the valley was far more spacious than what it looked like outside the valley. It was probably several miles wide and narrow. The stone walls inside the valley were different from the stone walls outside the valley. Although they were both red rocks and had layers of restrictions, the restrictions here were more than 10 times finer than those outside the valley. There were fine lines where the runes rolled up, and those fine lines set off wind patterns. The wind patterns rushed into the runes, and once again, they emitted a variety of brilliance. In the valley, there were countless brilliances like dim candles under the sun. Just like outside the mountain range, most of the restrictions were broken, and the brilliance in many places had been extinguished. In particular, where the brilliance was extinguished, there was a black-red color that covered the entire mountain. This black-red color covered the entire stone walls of the valley, and its thickness was different. Xiaohua's nose twitched slightly, and a strong smell of blood immediately rushed in. It was obvious that this black-red color was dyed by the blood that splashed on the stone walls. Alas, it has been nearly 1,000 years. Why is it still so bloody? Xiaohua said as he looked into the depths of the valley. The stone walls of the valley seemed to have been completely washed by blood. It was a black-red color, and it was very strange. Although it was Zhang Qingxiao's first time entering the Imperial Demon Valley, some of the memories he inherited faintly appeared. He said faintly, if it was just once or twice, it naturally wouldn't be so bloody. But don't forget, every time the Great War of Immortals and Demons took place in the Imperial Demon Valley, and even outside the mountain range. On the stone walls of the Imperial Demon Valley, every inch of the mountain rock was splashed with the blood of millions of demons and humans. The blood has already soaked the mountain rocks and the talismans. Xiaohua sighed, and looked into the valley. The valley was very calm, and there was even some wind, but the smell of blood in the air was still very strong. The yuan qi of heaven and earth in the Imperial Demon Valley was very rich, and at the same time, it was also very tyrannical. Occasionally, in an unknown place in the distance, pong pong pong, sounds of explosions could be heard. Following the explosions, a strong small storm suddenly formed and rushed in all directions. Most of it hit the mountain rocks of the mountain range. On the crimson-red mountain rocks, the talismans flashed, and the storm that hit them disappeared without a trace. Even the black-red blood didn't fall down. Just like Zhang Qingxiao said, it was unknown how much blood had been spilled on it, and it was unknown how many years this blood had existed. Xiaohua took Xiao and Yuanya and slowly flew into the valley. An indescribable pressure came from the black-red mountain rocks, from the gray-black sky, and through their bodies, it fell deep into their hearts. Be careful. Xiaohua suddenly raised his hand and struck Xiao's right side. A spatial crack strangely appeared there and fell towards Xiao's shoulder. Xiaohua's punch just happened to land on the spatial crack. With a gotcha sound, the spatial crack, along with the surrounding several zhang of space, shattered. That was close. Xiao was a little shocked. He understood in his heart that he didn't notice the spatial crack at all. If he was hit by it, even if he didn't die, he would lose half his life. Not only that, when Xiaohua shattered a part of the void, the nearby space, which was already unstable because of the battle, immediately reacted. Ka. Hundreds of spatial cracks appeared one after another. These spatial cracks appeared for an extremely short period of time, disappearing in a flash, but their destructive power was very strong. Occasionally, a spatial crack would hit the mountain rocks, and the blood on the mountain rocks would scatter, like the layer of soil on the rocks. Then, the talismans on the mountain rocks would collapse, revealing the crimson-red mountain rocks. Only when the spatial cracks disappeared did the talismans around the mountain rocks slowly gather, gradually restoring the array. Let's go. Seeing the spatial rifts closing in on them, Xiaohua grabbed Xiao and shot into the depths of the valley. As they flew through the air, more spatial rifts appeared, but when they landed on Xiaohua's golden body, they were nothing more than cotton wool. Xiaohua flew all the way to the bottom of the valley. Everywhere he passed by had been cleaned up by Dao cultivators, but even so, there were still some remnants. Some were black bones, some were crimson remains, and so on. The deepest part of the valley was a place with a radius of 10,000 feet. This space was filled with the power of the world that Xiaohua was familiar with. Layer after layer of violent and bloodthirsty laws of heaven and earth seeped out from the space like wind threads. Moreover, behind these wind threads, there was a huge black and red fog. It was like a giant silkworm cocoon that was shackled by the strong power of the world. The fog violently tumbled behind the laws of the world. Within the black and red fog, there were countless severed limbs that moved up and down from time to time. There were even some wailing heads that suddenly appeared and let out silent screams. Xiaohua stood still and frowned slightly. He had already seen the barrier between the two worlds with his naked eye, and saw the center of the black and red fog. The core of the black and red fog was no longer fog, but extremely condensed. Drops of sticky blood mixed with the black flames slowly flowed in the center. The black flame surrounded a hole that was smaller than a thumb. Almost endless black gas and black flames overflowed from this hole. Because of the existence of the barrier between the two worlds, the black gas and black flames were unable to rush out, so they condensed at the core. Waves of obscure and indescribable sobbing sounds faintly came from this hole. In addition to the black gas and sobbing sounds, the depths of the hole were filled with blood-red light. It was impossible to see what was inside at all. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it, give it a tip, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5107. At this moment, in this thumb-sized hole, countless thunderclaps resounded in the void, flashing with endless lightning. Wave after wave of slow, unparalleled, inhuman force emerged from the center of this hole and spread out in all directions. Under the power of this space, this hole was expanding bit by bit. Just as Xiao stood between the barrier between the human world and the devil world, the aura mixed with the laws of heaven and earth of the devil world enveloped him. Ayo! Black gas and devil flames appeared around Xiao's body, and he could no longer maintain his human form. His body melted like water, but just as he was about to reveal the devil body of the Diluo beast, Xiao roared in a low voice and quickly retreated. As he broke away from the laws of heaven and earth of the devil world, Xiao's human form slowly appeared again. However, at this time, Xiao's face was pale, blood was flowing from his lips, and his eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. Xiaohua, Xiao said coldly. You brought me here in good faith. Why did you bring me here? Could it be that you want to see my original devil body? Xiaohua raised the corner of his mouth and said indifferently, It's not like I haven't seen your devil body of the Diluo beast. Damn it! Hearing Xiaohua mention the Diluo beast, Xianxia's face became ferocious. He cursed in a low voice and shouted, I know I'm a Diluo beast, so what? Second senior brother. Xiaohua's face became gentle and he said in a low voice, in your heart, is it that you still haven't let go of senior sister? Who said that? Zhang Qingxiao sneered, I have the heavenly demon sect, and there are countless devil concubines in the sect. I can favor whoever I want. Besides, I also have Yu Tong. Why are you still thinking about that withered woman at this time? Alas! Xiaohua looked at Zhang Qingxiao, who was trying her best to disguise herself, and sighed. Second martial brother, once you've crossed the blue ocean, it's no longer water. Apart from Mount Wu, it's no longer clouds. You're the same as Li Zongbao. You're both people with deep emotions. It's just that Li Zongbao is clean and upright, while you are reluctant to part with flowers and cover up the depression in your heart. I can't compare to you. Bullshit. Zhang Qingxiao jumped up and said, I'm not a sentimental person. I just like women. Don't compare me with that old white man. Beside him is Guyu, who is as beautiful as a flower. His heart is only thinking about the dead person in the crystal coffin. What's the use? I don't know if it's useful or not, but I do know that your performance is different from his, but the essence is the same. Xiaohua said with a smile. The more Zhang Qingxiao was angry, the more it showed that he had a guilty conscience. Bull**T. Zhang Qingxiao scolded again. If you have the ability, find someone to resurrect the dead man. If you want Li Zongbao to marry that dead woman, I will admit it. You admit it, right? Xiaohua immediately caught Zhang Qingxiao's faulty wording and laughed. I refuse to admit it. Zhang Qingxiao waved his hand and said, I only said to resurrect the dead man and solve Li Baitu's problem. I'm the most handsome man in the world. How can I be compared to that old man Li Zongbao? Yeah. Xiaohua spread out his hands and said helplessly, Little brother has already solved Li Zongbao's problem, so I came to help you. Don't stubbornly hold on. How is that possible? Zhang Qingxiao was disdainful and said with a sneer, Are you lying to me? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old boy? Wanting to resurrect the dead, not to mention you, even immortals can't do it. Speaking until here, Zhang Qingxiao suddenly stared blankly as if he thought of something. He stood on the ground in disbelief and looked at Xiaohua. You remember now? Xiaohua smiled and said, in Yi Yin's message, although he didn't say that he met little brother, didn't he mention Lu Yong's Kai family? Impossible? Zhang Qingxiao was flabbergasted and said, Little junior brother, are you a god? You actually resurrected Kai Wuxia, that dead person? Actually, Kai Wuxia didn't really die. Xiaohua explained, her soul was just a little scattered, and little brother happened to have this divine ability. So others may think she was a dead person, but with little brother's divine ability, she was resurrected. Then, Zhang Qingxiao naturally thought of Xiao Yuehong. Unfortunately, before he could finish, Xiaohua immediately interrupted him and said, Master and eldest senior brother have indeed died, and it's been too long since they died. I can't do anything and I don't have that divine ability. Sigh. Zhang Qingxiao sighed. Suddenly, his body went limp and he collapsed on the ground. Xiaohua hurriedly flew over and wanted to help Zhang Qingxiao up, but Zhang Qingxiao waved his hand and said, Little junior brother, don't help me up first. Let me rest on the ground for a while more. I'm really tired. Now that Shang Huaming has you, I can finally rest. Hearing Zhang Qingxiao's words, Xiaohua's nose turned sour. He retracted his hand and simply lay on the ground. At this time, although there was no blue sky and white clouds, no grassland, and although there was a lot of blood and hostility, with such a brother accompanying him, this warmth was not inferior to any family affection in the world. After a while, Xiaohua said, Previously, little brother always felt that master was too lazy, always sitting on the small boat and not cultivating. Now I know that master's life is the life a cultivator should live. What a pity. Zhang Qingxiao also sighed and said, Master is a good cultivator, but he's not a qualified sect leader. Moreover, Shang Huaming's luck is too bad. I actually encountered 3 nascent soul cultivators coveting me. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. I'll leave this blood feud to you. I don't have to work so hard to break into the Shanghua sect and kill Sun Yunzi anymore. I know, second senior brother. Leave this matter to little brother. Xiaohua replied word by word, Sun Yunzi must die. Let's forget about the Xianghua sect. Up to you. Zhang Qingxiao's eyes were closed as if he was asleep. He said in a low voice, Actually, you don't know, my temper is even lazier than Master's. If it weren't for Master's supervision, I wouldn't even be able to compare to junior sister's cultivation. However, since Shang Huaming's sect has been destroyed, only 2.5 disciples are left. As the second senior brother, I can only hide my lazy temper and use my own strength to protect you. Over the past 700 years, I've done everything I can. This blood feud is like a mountain pressing down on my shoulders. I know that I won't be able to avenge Master and eldest apprentice brother for the rest of my life, but I've risked my life to cultivate. I've risked my life to expand my heavenly demon sect. I sometimes want to slack off, but my abilities are limited. I've protected you and junior apprentice sister. It's already very good that the three of us, Song Hua Ming, are able to live a good life. But when I think of Master's death and eldest senior brother's death, I can't stop the hatred in my heart. Shang Huaming and Yellow Flower Ridge have completely occupied my childhood memories. 3 nascent soul cultivators ruthlessly destroyed my memories and wiped out my happiness. How can I let them live in this world? Yes, I know, second senior brother. Xiao Hua reached out and patted Zhang Qingxiao. Zhang Qingxiao didn't open her eyes and continued to murmur, Little junior brother, you're right. Every sentence and every word just now pierced my heart. I like junior sister, an unforgettable love engraved in my heart. Even now, as long as junior sister says she's willing to be with me, I can abandon everything. However, I also know that junior sister likes that Jiang Fan, although Jiang Fan is already dead. When I was young, junior sister's affection for me was more than love. Now, junior sister's gratitude towards me is still more than love. Of course, I also know that at this time, if I say the words in my heart, junior sister will definitely walk with me and spend the rest of her life with me. However, she also felt guilty. This guilt was towards me, and also towards Jiang Fan. Instead of letting her feel guilty, why should I force her? The most important thing. Zhang Qingxiao was silent for a moment, and finally said, I'm no longer a human. I thought that with my will, I could be stronger than the Di Luo beast that possessed me. But I underestimated the devil marks of the devil race. I've gradually become a devil. How can I let the person I love see my ugly side? Loving her doesn't necessarily mean having her. Loving her and giving her happiness is enough. Junior sister is the love of my life. I want to make her happy in this life. Little junior brother, I know you asked me to come to this Imperial Devil Valley to tell me that my time as a human is not long. In fact, I already knew this. I went to Yellow Flower Ridge this time to see the person I love for the last time. I don't want her to see me. I just want to see her eyes, her eyebrows, and even the wrinkles on her face. I like them all. Alas, unfortunately, I don't have a chance to kiss her in this life. This extravagant hope can only wait for the next life. Just as Zhang Qingxiao said this, suddenly, 2 slightly hot lips touched his lips, and 2 drops of cold liquid dripped on his face at the same time. Damn it! Zhang Qingxiao was shocked. He was about to push the person away, but how could the warm tongue and the familiar fragrance in his mouth and nose be Xiao Hua? Zhang Qingxiao opened his eyes. Xiao Xianrui's flower-like face gradually blushed. Her pair of eyes had long been closed. Her long eyelashes were like frightened dragonflies, trembling rapidly. Buzz! A kind of incomparable happiness drowned Zhang Qingxiao like a tide. As the old saying goes, happy times are always short. Seeing the sun set in the west, and the Imperial Devil Valley was full of bloody light, Zhang Qingxiao reluctantly let go of Xiao Xianrui in his arms. Xiao Hua and Yuan Yin naturally wouldn't stay by his side. Zhang Qingxiao looked around and asked in a low voice, Junior sister, how did you come here? After you and little junior brother left, I just finished instructing the disciples of 100 Herbs Gate. Before I could return to the medicine garden, I was pulled here out of thin air, and then... Xiao Xianrui naturally knew that this was Xiao Hua's trick. She couldn't help but blush and lower her head. How could any woman in the world not be moved in front of such an infatuated man? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a month, vote for a recommendation, collect, reward, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 5108. This guy. Xianxia smiled bitterly, but her heart was also filled with sweetness. Cough cough. Xiaohua's cough came from afar. Xiao Xianrui, like a frightened bird, hurriedly turned her head and hid her face beside Xiao. How was she like a mother? So embarrassing. Xiao looked at Xiaohua, who was flying over, and said helplessly. But Xiaohua didn't laugh. Instead he said seriously, "Second senior brother, senior sister, time is short, we don't have much time left. In this world, most misunderstandings and undesired things are caused by not speaking clearly. Although little brother's actions were extremely reckless, little brother had no other choice. Please forgive me." Xiao Xianrui tried hard to turn her head, but in the end she couldn't. Xiao waved her hand and said, "Get up, I forgive you." "Thank you, second senior brother." Xiaohua got up, looked around and said, "Senior sister, please don't worry, today's matter is known to the heavens and the earth, including the three of us. My disciple has already been taken into the Kunlun Immortal realm, he can't know." Xiao Xianrui was stunned and somewhat puzzled, turned her head and asked curiously, "Little junior brother, what do you mean?" "It's very simple," Xiaohua replied. "Second senior brother really doesn't have much time. He will soon turn into a devil. After he turns into a devil, he will definitely not let you see him, and little brother also advises you not to see him again. Just treat him as if he is already dead." Xiao Xianrui bit her lips. She had let go because of Xiaohua's appearance, but she once again held Zhang Qingxiao's hand, although the palm of her hand was cold. "Second senior brother is going, I naturally have to go too," Xiaohua said, "so no one will know about this matter." "You are going too?" Xiao Xianrui was even more puzzled. "You, aren't you the master of Fortune Gate? Where are you going?" "Junior sister." Zhang Qingxiao was shocked, and looked at Xiao Xianrui with some heartache. "The place he is going is naturally the place all cultivators dream of." "Immortal realm?" Xiao Xianrui was so surprised that her mouth couldn't close, and then she was even more overjoyed and said, "I understand. Congratulations, little junior brother." "That's right." Xiaohua finally smiled and said, "Since little brother is going to leave, I can't leave behind any regrets." Hearing this, Xiao Xianrui looked at Zhang Qingxiao, hugged Zhang Qingxiao's arm and said, "I understand. Second senior brother and I have no regrets." "That's good." Xiaohua nodded. Little brother still has something to discuss with second senior brother. "Senior sister, you can go back first." "Okay." Hearing this, Xiao Xianrui naturally pulled her hand out of Zhang Qingxiao's arm. But just as she pulled her hand out, her eyes were filled with sadness. She opened her arms and hugged Zhang Qingxiao. Her eyes were filled with tears, and Zhang Qingxiao's chest was wet. Sigh. Zhang Qingxiao sighed and held Xiao Xianrui in his arms. After a meal, the two of them separated again. The two of them understood that today was the beginning and also the end. In this life, their fate would only last for a few hours. However, in just a few hours, the two of them were already satisfied. Their minds were connected like water flowing through a canal, and they were naturally connected. Xiaohua didn't delay. He took out the Kunlun mirror, and the Feng Wu flew out. Xiaohua cupped his hands and said, "I'll have to trouble you to send her back again." "No problem." The Feng Wu grabbed with its claws. Zhang Qingxiao felt as if the world was closed. The huge force was far beyond his imagination. It was really like fate was ruthless. Xiao Xianrui was forcefully snatched from his arms by the Feng Wu. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but nothing came out. Xiao Xianrui was the same. Only 2 lines of tears and a pair of delicate hands were left in Zhang Qingxiao's eyes. "No need to look," Xiaohua said with a smile. "If you want to look, you can go to the herb garden on Shihua Peak." Zhang Qingxiao was stunned and said, "Didn't you say that I don't have enough time?" "I said that you don't have enough time," Xiaohua said with a smile, "but as long as little brother doesn't ascend, 8 or 10 years is no problem." "Damn it!" Zhang Qingxiao looked a little angry. He slapped Xiaohua's shoulder and shouted, "You dare to tease me? I'm not exaggerating." The Kunlun mirror in Xiaohua's hand slowly rotated, just like the jade ball in Zhang Qingxiao's hand. "You are now at the crucial point of transforming into a devil. Only when you understand the mortal world's long-cherished wish can you truly become a devil. Xianxia ignored Xiaohua and asked in a low voice, "Who was that demonic beast just now? Why is he so powerful?" "Didn't you want to see my Fortune Gate's patriarchs?" Xiaohua replied, "How come after seeing them, you've become Lord Ye's dragon?" "He's a demonic beast, ah. He's actually your Fortune Gate's patriarchs?" Zhang Qingxiao was dumbfounded. He had thought that the Fortune Gate's 10 patriarchs were all humans. Xiaohua didn't stop until he was shocked to death. "More than that. My Fortune Gate's 9th patriarch is also a devil." With that said, the Kunlun mirror in Xiaohua's hand was activated. Devil Qi roiled and devil flames covered the sky as an Archdevil Lord stepped out from the Kunlun mirror. "Devil. Devil Lord? Archdevil Lord? Archdevil Lord?" Zhang Qingxiao was dumbfounded. The devil aura around Archdevil Lord Shi was too vast. With Zhang Qingxiao's current strength, he couldn't estimate Archdevil Lord Shi's strength. "Ha!" Archdevil Lord Shi laughed loudly. "This father is called Archdevil Lord Shi. I am the Fortune Gate's 9th patriarch." "Greetings, Lord Archdevil Lord." Zhang Qingxiao didn't dare to slight Archdevil Lord Shi, and hurriedly knelt down. He understood that because of Xiaohua's existence, Archdevil Lord Shi had concealed his aura. Otherwise, the moment he saw Archdevil Lord Shi, not only would he have reverted to his true form, he would also have collapsed to the ground. "Get up!" Archdevil Lord Shi laughed as he helped Zhang Qingxiao up. "This father has heard about you from fellow Taoist Xiao. Since your human body is fated to be with fellow Taoist Xiao, this father will reluctantly accept you." "No. It can't be, right?" Zhang Qingxiao's body trembled. He couldn't believe it, but he understood that this was Archdevil Lord Shi's purpose in coming out. Thus, after a brief moment of shock, he knelt down again and kowtowed 9 times. "Disciple greets master." "Get up." Archdevil Lord Shi could only help Zhang Qingxiao up again and said, "However, you can only be this old man's second disciple." Yes. Zhang Qingxiao nodded excitedly. To be able to become master's disciple is already very happy. Disciple doesn't care about the order. That's good. Archdevil Lord Shi saw this and opened his mouth. As demonic qi surged, the dragon Lu landed in front of Zhang Qingxiao and said, "This is the dragon Lu. Fellow Taoist Xiao asked this father to repair it. Today, I will bestow it to you." Zhang Qingxiao received the dragon Lu and was even more delighted. "Thank you, master, for your generous gift. After this item, there are even better things for you." Archdevil Lord Shi thought for a moment and said, "However, this item can't be used in the Dawn Rain continent. You can only use it after you reach the demon realm and completely recover your demonic body." Yes. Disciple is already very happy with this demonic artifact. Zhang Qingxiao smiled. "As for the other things, master can bestow them as you see fit." Archdevil Lord Shi looked at Xiaohua and said, "Big brother, can I show him that item?" Xiaohua shrugged and said, "This is between you and your disciple. It has nothing to do with I." "All right." Archdevil Lord Shi smiled and said to Zhang Qingxiao, "Our demon race doesn't have so many scruples. This father will let you see the world first and know what you have to do in the future. Don't belittle yourself." Seeing Archdevil Lord Shi actually say belittle himself, Xiaohua couldn't help but curl his lips, thinking to himself, he's actually like the Thunder Immortal, dropping his book bag. While Zhang Qingxiao was still in absolute shock, the demon Venerable Jianghu opened his mouth. Inside the fist-sized magic crystal, the broken body of the demon Venerable Ju of the West-slaying demon region appeared. Although it was separated by the magic crystal, the aura that was similar to the demon mark origin still made Zhang Qingxiao feel very close to it. "Master." After Zhang Qingxiao recovered from her shock, she prostrated herself on the ground and shouted, "Disciple will definitely not have any thoughts of inferiority. Disciple will definitely cultivate to the Demon Lord realm." Haha. Archdevil Lord Shi swallowed the demonic crystal and clapped his hands. "That's good. I estimate that I can only take in 7 disciples. So far, these 2 disciples have the hope of cultivating to the Demon Lord realm. At that time, they will also be legends in the demon realm." Zhang Qingxiao was stunned and asked curiously, "Senior brother is also a demon lord? How?" Archdevil Lord Shi glared and said unhappily, "What? Is the demon lord not valuable now?" Hee, disciple does have this kind of feeling. Xianxia replied with a smile. Second senior brother. Xiaohua hurriedly said, "Your master's first disciple is the demon dragon that I told you before." Demon dragon? Xianxia was dumbfounded and said, "No way. I thought you were joking with me." Haha. Archdevil Lord Shi laughed and raised his hand to point at Xianxia, saying, "You can be considered a lucky person. With Dragon Xianxia becoming a demon in front of you, in the future, when you become a demon, there will be someone to guide you." With that, Xiaohua activated the Kunlun mirror. Within the pillar of light, Dragon Xianxi's half-human half-dragon demon body appeared, and a demon aura that was as hard to measure as Xianxiao's rushed out. "Oh my, this is that demon dragon, it is indeed powerful." Xianxia was secretly speechless, and thought to himself, "If I have this kind of master, won't I be able to do whatever I want in the demon realm in the future?" Dragon Xianxi's demon body landed in the air, and his tightly closed eyes opened for a moment. Looking at the barrier of the demon realm, he said in a low voice, "Master, are you going to break the barrier?" "No." Archdevil Lord Shi replied cleanly, "I have taken in another disciple, let me show you." Dragon Xianxi's dragon eyes turned, sweeping past Xiaohua and looking at Xianxia. Xiao's original demon body naturally could not be hidden from Dragon Xianxia. Dragon Xianxi's eyes flashed with contempt for no reason, and he replied, "Greetings, junior brother, I am currently transforming my demon body, so I cannot greet you. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a month, vote for a recommendation, collect, reward, thank you for all forms of support." Chapter 5109. Xianxiao's heart was filled with shame and anger, but he knew better than anyone that he deserved this kind of disdain. No matter how he looked at it, he couldn't compare to Long Xianxia. If he wanted respect, he could only cultivate. Reach the realm of Demon Lord. Therefore, Xianxia put away his shame and anger, and bowed calmly. "Little brother Xianxia greets senior brother." "N." Long Xianxia nodded and said, "Wait until I finish reconstructing my demon body, then I will pass on everything I have comprehended to junior brother." Little brother thanks senior brother. Xianxia didn't dare to delay and bowed again. "Master." Long Xianxia closed his eyes and said, "Disciple is now at a critical moment. If there is nothing special, please don't disturb disciple. Also, if possible, please go to the demon world as soon as possible. Disciple has already sensed that the nearby demon chi is not enough to support disciple's recovery." "Lousy knows." Demon Lord Shi replied. Xiaohua activated Kunlun mirror and kept Long Xianxia. Once Long Xianxia left, Xianxia curled his lips and said, "Master, where did you get this disciple? Why is he so arrogant?" "Haha." Demon Lord Shi laughed and said, "Can't help it, he is." Speaking until here, Xiaohua interrupted Demon Lord Shi and said, "Second senior brother, his background is more noble than yours. You don't have to ask too much, just be yourself." "Yes, Lousy understands." After Xianxia said, "Lousy," he regretted it. If Demon Lord Shi wasn't here, he would have called him Lousy. But he called Demon Lord Shi his master, and Demon Lord Shi called Xiaohua big brother. If he still called himself Lousy in front of Xiaohua, wouldn't it be taking advantage of his seniority? Luckily, Xiaohua didn't mind and said, "Also, you saw it too, the demon race is different from the human race. It is based on strength. Your master can't be too protective of you. You must know how to be patient." "Don't worry, I understand." Xianxia knew Xiaohua's painstaking efforts and promised, "I will let them see me in a new light." Demon Lord Shi spat out a jade slip from his mouth and handed it to Xianxia. "These are some simple cultivation techniques, and also the comprehension of the demon body. Take this time to look at it carefully." "Thank you, master." Xianxia took it, but before she could take a look at it, she felt an aura surging from the side. Xianxia hurriedly turned around, only to see Feng Wu flying in from outside the valley. "So fast." Xianxia was somewhat worried. She looked at Xiaohua and asked in a low voice, "Have you already sent junior sister here?" "Yes." Xiaohua nodded, and then he said to Feng Wu, since fellow Taoist has returned, then there's no need to trouble fellow Taoist to send Zhang Qingxiao away as well. After saying that, Xiaohua turned his head and asked Zhang Qingxiao, "Where is second senior brother going?" "Let my Fortune Gate's fifth old master accompany you." I wouldn't dare. Hearing this, Zhang Qingxiao was shocked and hurriedly waved her hand. "Don't mention it. You still have to find a list of enemies for fellow Taoist Xiao. The sooner the better." Feng Wu replied with a smile. "Since that's the case, I'll have to trouble you, senior." Zhang Qingxiao was not pretentious and said to Xiaohua, "Little junior brother, I will go back and personally look for Zhang Zhihao. I will stay near him and wait for this list." "All right." Xiaohua nodded and replied, "Don't make it too difficult. If you can't find it, then forget it. This is just a small matter." "Brother understands," Zhang Qingxiao said and put away the Qiu Yin Lu. Just as she was about to leave, Xiaohua suddenly thought of something and slapped his forehead. "That's right, little brother forgot an extremely important thing." "What is it?" Zhang Qingxiao stopped and looked at Xiaohua strangely. Xiaohua looked into Zhang Qingxiao's eyes and spat out two words. "Ji Peng." "Damn it!" Zhang Qingxiao's expression changed greatly. Obviously, this Ji Peng was a knot in her heart. Ji Peng already has the strength of a devil commander. Xiaohua was well aware of the change in Zhang Qingxiao's heart. He smiled and said, "Moreover, he also borrowed the body of Du Peng, a spirit-severing cultivator from Defeat You Immortal Union. This time, he followed little brother through millions of Meng Mountains to Dawn Rain Mainland. Little brother originally planned to kill him when we reached Dawn Rain Mainland. However, I didn't expect an accident to happen. He came here first and I don't know where he is now. Little brother wanted to tell you before, but seeing that your emotions were unstable, you didn't dare to speak. Today, you will be traveling alone, so you need to be careful." "Brother understands." Zhang Qingxiao panicked for a moment before calming down and said, "Although brother's strength is not as strong as Ji Peng, with the Qiu Yin Lu in my hands, how can I be afraid of him?" "Let Yuanya come with us," Xiaohua said and was about to activate the Kunlun mirror. "Please don't." Zhang Qingxiao stared at Xiaohua and said, "I still need to bid farewell to you Tong and the others. How do you want me to bid farewell to a Dao cultivator senior?" "Ha ha." Demon Venerable Shi laughed loudly. He raised his hand and a strand of demonic energy entered Zhang Qingxiao's forehead. He said, "Daddy will release a demonic view for you. If you are in any danger, just activate your demonic energy. Daddy will rush over as soon as possible." Then, seeing that Demon Venerable Shi released the demonic view without discussing with him, Zhang Qingxiao was helpless. He nodded and said, "Then disciple thanks master." "Go!" Demon Venerable Shi waved his hand and Zhang Qingxiao followed Feng Wu. Demon Venerable Shi looked at Zhang Qingxiao's back and laughed. "This kid is interesting. If Daddy told him that there was Daddy's clone in that demonic energy, he probably wouldn't agree, right?" "That's right. Taking him as a disciple is much more interesting than Long Shensi," Xiaohua said and looked at the barrier of the demon realm. "When you reach the demon realm, you won't feel bored." "Indeed." Demon Venerable Shi nodded. Long Shensi has been in a high position for a long time. If not for the situation forcing him, he wouldn't have lowered his head to you and me, much less take me as his master. Xiaohua squinted his eyes and looked at the demonic energy behind the barrier of the two realms. He didn't speak for a long time. After a long while, he opened his mouth and said faintly, "There is no such thing as master and disciple in the demon realm. Long Shensi's instincts are still demonic. However, you don't have to care too much about it. Long Shensi should be trustworthy." Demon Venerable Shi shrugged and replied, "I don't care if he is trustworthy or not. I am only borrowing the demon realm to fly to the demon swamp." Demon swamp. Ah, demon swamp. That is a taboo place no matter if it is the immortal realm, heavenly court or Buddha kingdom. Little brother is really looking forward to it. I don't know what surprises are waiting for little brother there. After speaking, Demon Venerable Shi looked around and said with disdain, "As for this place, it is only a small crack between the demon realm and Dawn Rain continent. Those who can pass through this crack to reach Dawn Rain continent are only some unremarkable demons in the demon realm. Dawn Rain continent's cultivators dare to say that this is a great war between immortals and demons. If Yilin continent's cultivators heard this, wouldn't they laugh their heads off? What demon-resisting valley? Xiaohua disagreed and said, back then, in the eyes of nascent soul cultivators and above, the sword Dao war was just a training for low-level disciples of Dao cultivators and sword cultivators. But in the eyes of us Qi refinement and foundation establishment disciples, it was a life-and-death battle that spread throughout the 3 cultivation countries and Huan country. If you look at it now, it would probably be like a joke. The battle in the Imperial Devil Valley was the same. In the eyes of the cultivators of the Dawn Rain continent, it was a battle of life and death between the Dawn Rain continent and the Devil world. However, in the eyes of the Heaven Alliance and the Dao Alliance of the Yilin continent, it was just an ordinary battle. Oh, even a cultivator who defeated Immortal Alliance and broke through Mount Meru's Buddha formation can become Immortal Alliance's Vice-Alliance leader. Presumably, this Vice-Alliance leader Luo Xing Tian Luo also obtained glory in Dawn Rain continent that he did not obtain in Yilin continent. No wonder Taoist Yuan Kong and the others wanted to come to Dawn Rain continent to have fun. After speaking, Xiaohua waved his hand as if he was chasing away a fly and said impatiently, forget it, let's not talk about this. You and I are destined to have no fate with Dawn Rain continent's great war between immortals and demons. Take a look, this is the barrier to the demon realm. With your strength can you pass through it? Without waiting for Demon Venerable Shi to speak, Feng Wu flew back from outside the valley with a strange expression. Xiaohua did not mind and asked casually, thank you for your trouble. No problem. Feng Wu replied. Xiaohua did not have the heart to talk to him and did not return to the space. Instead, he stood at the side as if he had something to tell Xiaohua. Demon Venerable Shi did not care about Feng Wu's return. He looked at the restriction in the space and said, there is a restriction placed by Dawn Rain continent's cultivators on this realm barrier. It is specially used to detect the situation of the space barrier. Although this restriction is like paper in our eyes, it cannot be restored after being pierced. It will definitely attract the attention of Immortal Alliance. Xiaohua nodded and said, I know this. I just want to ask you if you can pass through this realm barrier. Demon Venerable Shi thought for a moment and looked at the space on the left. His hands tore towards the space and the already unstable space was immediately torn apart. As Demon Venerable Shi tried to send in a spell, the vague realm passage and terrifying realm aura began to surge. Demon Venerable Shi hurriedly stopped the spell and covered the space. He smiled and said, no problem. This place is not like the 3 continents and 10,000 demon realm. The realm passage here is often opened. As long as I use the space escape technique and the space stabilization technique I obtained earlier, I can smoothly reach the demon realm. After reaching the demon realm, remember to cover up the space barrier. Xiaohua's heart was set. He warned, if possible, try to occupy the demon realm near the space barrier. Don't let the demon realm people harass Dawn Rain continent in the future. I will try my best. Demon Venerable Shi shrugged and said, you should tell this to Zhang Qingxiao. He will stay in the demon realm longer than me. I don't need to tell him this. He knows it very well. Xiaohua smiled and replied. Feng Wu looked around and interrupted. Dao friend, other than the demon realm's laws of heaven and earth, there doesn't seem to be any other realms. Are you sure you entered from here? Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, gift it. Thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 51:10. I'm almost certain. Xiaohua pointed at the valley in the distance and said, there are some caves there. I have some vague memories. If I'm not mistaken, I suddenly fell onto this battlefield during the Great Immortal Demon War. Then, I was discovered by 2 soul-severing stage and body integration stage cultivators. They searched my soul and sealed my Dantian and Mud Pill Palace. Little Black and Little Yellow didn't fall here, but somewhere else? Feng Wu asked. I'm afraid so. Xiaohua nodded. Didn't you see that the 9 origin realm was in one place in the 10,000 demon realm? But when it reached the Yilin continent, it was actually spread across the Yilin continent and turned into 9 forbidden areas. Although I arrived at the Dawn Rain continent with Little Yellow and Little Black, because the time we fell into the realm was different, the distance between us was naturally different. Yes. Feng Wu nodded. This is fate. If it wasn't for Little Yellow, how could you have met Xian Wan? If it wasn't for Little Black, you also wouldn't have met Ziming. Yes. Speaking of Ziming, Xiaohua's heart was filled with helplessness. He nodded slightly. The fate between people is so strange, it's hard to explain. Then what about fellow Taoist and the Imperial Thunder Sect? Feng Wu suddenly asked. Imperial Thunder Sect? Xiaohua frowned and asked curiously. Why did fellow Taoist suddenly mention the Imperial Thunder Sect? Feng Wu raised her phoenix claw and took out a jade slip. She handed it to Xiaohua and said, I sent Zhang Qingxiao back. Just as I flew out of the void, a message came. After Zhang Qingxiao finished reading it, she gave this jade slip to I and asked I to pass it to fellow Taoist, saying that it was a matter of the Imperial Thunder Sect. If you weren't here, he would have gone to take a look. But since you're back, he wouldn't do anything unnecessary. Xiaohua took the jade slip and looked at it. His face was somewhat gloomy, as if he couldn't make a decision. After a while, Xiaohua looked up and asked Feng Wu, what does fellow Taoist think? The Imperial Thunder Sect betrayed fellow Taoist, but the Myriad Thunder Valley didn't betray fellow Taoist. Unfortunately, Xue and I won't watch as the Imperial Thunder Sect is in trouble. Since fellow Taoist can call Martial Uncle Zhen Qing and Junior Martial Sister Sun Shu, it means that you haven't put the Imperial Thunder Sect down in your heart. Why should you put a mere fairy Xianxia in your eyes? Feng Wu's thoughts were naturally Xiaohua's thoughts. Then I'll have to trouble fellow Taoist to make another trip. Xiaohua nodded, took out the Kunlun mirror, and handed it over to Feng Wu. TSK. Feng Wu rolled her eyes and said, You're used to ordering me around, fellow Taoist. How many times have you flown? This Dawn Rain continent space is odd. Each time I execute spatial escape art, it feels awkward. Big Brother Huang Tong has yet to return. Isn't it because Big Brother Feng Wu's spatial escape technique is powerful? If you don't go, who will? Demon Venerable Shi flattered. Ha ha ha, just based on your words. Fellow Taoist, I should also make a trip. After Feng Wu finished speaking, she flapped her wings and left. Xiaohua coldly looked at a place and said, Sure, you should also go back and prepare. When the Great Array is broken, or before this poor Taoist ascends, you will bring Long Shenxi and Zhang Qingxiao from here and break through to the demon realm. Okay, Big Brother. Demon Venerable Shi's figure rolled, turned into a demonic cloud, and rushed into space. Xiaohua's figure slowly flew up, but he didn't rush out of the Imperial Demon Valley. Instead, he landed in the foothills that he was familiar with and carefully looked at it. Zhang Qingxiao handed over the communication jade slip she obtained to Feng Wu, and respectfully sent Feng Wu into the void. Only then did she carefully look around and was about to use the communication secret technique. But at this moment, Wu! Another mysterious shadow flew out from the mountain stream. A demonic shadow turned into a bat and landed in front of Zhang Qingxiao. Zhang Qingxiao was obviously startled. He raised his hand and grabbed the demonic shadow. Looking around, he shouted with lingering fear, Damn it! That communication jade slip just now gave me a fright. If it weren't for the Fortune Gate's fifth old master, I would have run away. This communication jade slip is even worse. Why did you send a demonic shadow message for no reason? You almost scared me to death. Zhang Qingxiao didn't open the communication jade slip. Instead, he turned into a demonic shadow and moved stealthily on the ground for a moment. Only when he reached a dark place did he stop. He released his divine sense to check again, then straightened his back and opened the communication jade slip. He muttered under his breath, Your grandmother, isn't it just a jipang? Do you think I'm afraid of you? However, before Zhang Qingxiao could finish cursing, he was stunned on the spot. His face revealed an expression of not knowing whether to laugh or cry. After a while, he looked at the communication jade slip again in disbelief. He then put it away and cursed in a low voice. They say that fortune doesn't come in pairs and misfortune doesn't come alone. I didn't believe it, but looking at it today, I'm already dizzy. I can't figure out who is fortune and who is misfortune. I haven't seen Xiaohua for nearly 1,000 years. Whether it's the Imperial Thunder Sect, Li Zongbao, or Fairy Xianxia, they all said that he's safe and sound. Xiaohua has just returned to the Dawn Rain mainland. So why are things about him happening one after another? I just received a message from the Imperial Thunder Sect, and now there's a message about Fairy Xianxia. How am I supposed to live? Although Xiaohua has a bad temper and won't take the initiative to find trouble, if you provoke his reverse scale, Won't he turn the Dawn Rain mainland upside down? Fortune Gate's fifth old master. Fortune Gate's fifth old master. Xianxia called out a few times in an exaggerated manner. He then pinched his chin as if he was thinking. After a while he muttered again, I don't have Xiaohua's communication jade slip. If I send a message to the Imperial Thunder Sect now, I'm afraid the cucumber will be cold. Forget it, since the Fortune Gate has issued a summons, Xiaohua can also receive it from the Imperial Thunder Sect. When he sees the summons, he will immediately understand what's going on. There's no need for me to draw legs on a snake. But Zhang Qingxiao frowned as he looked in the direction of the Sky Patrol City. He was somewhat puzzled. I don't know if Fairy Hongxia really has a change of heart or is she just pretending to delay. She actually wants to be engaged to the Yi family's young lord? The strangest thing is that the engagement ceremony is actually held in the Sky Patrol City? As for this Zhong Haoren, I used to think that other than being loyal to junior brother, he has no other redeeming qualities. Today my eyes have lit up. He actually realized that this is an excellent opportunity to unite the Fortune Gates people. He even used Daoist Zhao's name to issue a summon order, ordering all Fortune Gates disciples to head to the Sky Patrol City to stop the engagement ceremony. Zhong Haoren thought it through well. He thinks that regardless of whether this matter succeeds or fails, he can establish the Fortune Gates authority among the small sections. This will make it easier for him to integrate and lead the Fortune Gate in the future. But he doesn't know that the Huan country's sword cultivators and my heavenly demon sect's Earth Fiend sect, Renhua sect, and Earth Spirit sect are also prepared to use this battle as an opportunity to wipe out the small sects like the Fortune Gate in one fell swoop. This will allow them to gain as much control as possible over the three countries. The Earth Fiend sect, Renhua sect, and Earth Spirit sect's deputy sect masters really deserve to die. They didn't even discuss this matter with me. Do they think that just because I didn't restrain them all these years, I don't care about them? Do they think that I can't do anything to them? Oh, not good. Yi family. Damn it, how could I forget about the Yi family's ambition? The Huan country's Yi family must also want to get their hands on the three countries. That's why they set up such a trap. If the engagement ceremony is real, the Yi family and the Kai family will join hands and the Yi family's forces will enter the hinterland of the Shi country. If the engagement ceremony is fake, the Yi family will be like the sword cultivators and the three sects, dividing the Fortune Gate's forces. Regardless of whether the engagement ceremony is real or fake, Sky Patrol City will be the center of another sword battle. Yi Yaotian, you really have a good plan. Unfortunately, the Yi family has calculated everything, including the Huan country and the three countries. But they didn't calculate that the real Daoist Xiao has already returned to the Dawn Rain mainland with the supreme strength of the human race. These calculations will definitely be seen by Daoist Xiao. His thunderous methods will fall like rain, just in time to help me deal with the heavenly demon sect's traitors. TSKSK, I have to say that junior brother is really lucky. I have always disliked his low profile and looked down on his forbearance. If I had his strength, I would have already killed in all directions and my reputation would have spread far and wide. Under such glory, how could I see the filth in these people's hearts? It seems that I should also learn to hide my strength and bide my time in the future. Zhang Qingxiao muttered to himself as he once again moved towards the distant mountain range. He felt that since Zhong Haoren had issued a summon order, the Dawn Rain mainland's Fortune Gate would immediately gather at Sky Patrol City. With Xiaohua's ability, he would definitely receive the summon order and there would be no need for him to send a message to Xiaohua. However, he forgot that Xiaohua did not need to fly to the Imperial Thunder Sect. Xiaohua only needed to tear the void and use the space escape technique to reach the Imperial Thunder Sect. How could he receive Zhong Haoren's summon order in time? The Imperial Thunder Sect was still the Imperial Thunder Sect. 1,000 years was but a blink of an eye, not leaving too many traces in the Mo mountain range. Under the curtain of night, the moonlight was as beautiful as water, illuminating the entire Mo mountain range. On the mountain range, whether it was rocks, vegetation, or immortal birds and beasts, everything was clearly visible under the brilliance of the moonlight. Above the starry sky, several thin clouds would occasionally drift by, blocking the moonlight. The moonlight was like water blocked by a reef, either flowing elsewhere or backtracking. At the place where the moonlight was distorted, layers of lightning threads appeared. These lightning threads were like flames, burning fiercely and intertwining to form a lightning net. The lightning net flashed and disappeared into the void, covering the entire Lamo mountain range tightly. Swoosh! In the distant sky, several flying boats passed through the curtain of night and slid to the left side of the mountain range. Lightning flashed on the flying boats, looking like falling meteors from afar. Swoosh, swoosh! In an instant, from a hidden place in the mountain range, several disciples wearing battle armor soared into the sky. The one in front was a mid-foundation establishment cultivator, holding a heavy halberd, standing majestically in midair, quietly watching the flying boats approach. The other Qi refining disciples were also in high spirits, standing behind the foundation establishment cultivator with calm gazes. When the flying boats approached, the mid-foundation establishment cultivator shouted, "Which Lightning Palace disciple is returning to the sect? Why haven't you gotten off the boat and reported? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qi Dian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it, reward it, and thank you for all forms of support." Chapter 51:11. As he shouted, the lightning on the flying boat slowly disappeared. A cultivator in the late stage of the foundation establishment realm flew down from the flying boat. Although he was facing a junior in the foundation establishment realm, he didn't dare to be negligent. He hurriedly took out his token and handed it to the patrolling disciple. "Disciple Xianxia from Canlei Palace. I've brought 10 disciples back from their training. Please let them pass." The patrolling disciple took the token and looked at it carefully. He then looked up at the 10 disciples on the flying boat and returned the token to Xianxia. He said loudly, "Today, I've verified that Xianxia and 10 disciples of Canlei Palace have returned from their training. Please let them pass." Following the foundation building disciple's voice, the dozen or so aura refining disciples behind him took out magic tools from their bosoms. They then urged their figures to scatter and rush to different places. Once their magic tools emitted different colored lightning bolts, they each shot out a strand of lightning from midair. Like a stream of water, the lightning bolt swept through everything within a radius of several thousand feet. After the lightning bolt disappeared, the foundation building disciple smiled and respectfully saluted Xianxia of Canlei Palace. "Junior welcomes senior martial brother back from your training." Xianxia put away the token and helped the foundation building disciple up. He smiled and said, "You've worked hard. I'm training for myself. You're on duty here for my thunder controlling sect." "Thank you for your understanding, senior," the foundation building disciple said with a smile. "This is Junior's duty. We don't need to work hard." And Xianxia nodded. He looked at the Mount Lamar in the night and asked, "What happened in the sect? Why did you suddenly send an urgent message asking us disciples who are training outside to rush back? Senior didn't explain in your messaging talisman?" The foundation building disciple was puzzled. However, he came to his senses after a while and said with a smile, "Maybe the messaging talismans sent by each Thunder Palace are different. Our Thunder Palace already explained the sect's 100 Halls competition when we sent the message." 100 Halls competition? Xianxia was even more puzzled. He asked, "What's that?" The patrolling foundation establishment disciple didn't answer immediately. He first looked to the left and saw that other patrolling disciples had already flown out to block the flying boats that were approaching. Only then did he withdraw his gaze and answer, "Senior, you must know that with the great change in the world's spiritual energy, not only is our Imperial Thunder Sect unable to recruit enough disciples, even the cultivation of our original disciples has slowed down. The strength of the various halls and branches of the 8 great Thunder Palaces is gradually weakening, and some of them are even disappearing. In order to clean up the chaotic branches of the 8 major Thunder Palaces, the sect leader has issued the sect leader's order, ordering the branches of the 8 major Thunder Palaces of our Imperial Thunder Sect to hold a martial arts competition. Those with excellent results will be rewarded, and those with poor results will be removed from their branches, and their disciples will be merged into other branches." "Oh, I see." Xianxia understood and said with a smile, "I understand now. Since the Sword War 700 years ago, the strength of our thunder-controlling sect has been declining. When Master Qian Lazy reached the divinity branching stage and failed, Fairy Xianhua took over the thunder-controlling sect. All the palaces and branches became more and more chaotic. Some palaces and branches only had a dozen people left. They didn't need to exist anymore. Moreover, from what I see, the sect leader's order is not only to clean up the branches, but also to boost the morale of our disciples and strengthen our Imperial Thunder sect. Senior, you're right. Seeing another flying boat approaching, the disciple on duty hurriedly said, Senior, you've come back late. You'd better hurry back to the sect. The 100 Palaces competition is coming to an end. If you go in now, you might be able to help your sect. There's another flying boat coming back. I'll go check it out. The disciple on duty bowed and hurried away. Kuan Su moved his body and landed on the flying boat. The smile on his face was replaced with disdain, and he said in a low voice, If you have the energy, why don't you think about how to recruit better disciples? Think about how to resist the provocations of the various sections. What's the point of holding 100 Palaces competition behind closed doors and cleaning up branches? Master. An 11th layer Qi refining disciple next to him whispered, Did something important happen in the sect? Nothing important. Kuan Su said angrily, There's a martial arts competition in the sect, and they asked us to come back and participate. Are you kidding me? The disciple said in surprise, We're at a critical point in our training. Senior brother is about to break through to the 12th layer of Qi refining, but for this martial arts competition? Say no more. Kuan Su waved his hand. We're already back. What's the point of talking about this? There will be more opportunities in the future. Let's wait for the next training. Yes, Master. The Qi refining disciple didn't dare to say more. He turned to the other disciples and said, Start the flying boat. We're going back to the sect. Yes. The disciple driving the flying boat complied, and the flying boat flew up again. After crashing into the array, it set off a little bit of lightning like rain. After the flying boat sank into the array, the circles of lightning ripples slowly disappeared. Kuan Su stood on the flying boat. He felt a flash of light and shadow, and the scene in front of him changed. He focused his eyes and was slightly stunned. Why is there such a big formation? Above the Lamo mountains that stretched for thousands of miles, 8 flashing lightning balls were like huge lightning suns hanging quietly in the air. The lightning was like the sun, illuminating the entire mountain range. Under each lightning sun, thousands of disciples of the Imperial Thunder sect would stand in neat formations, either whispering or looking at the lightning suns. Looking at the thunder sun again, some of them had disciples fighting inside, while others were empty. Under the lightning suns where disciples were fighting, many disciples were cheering loudly. Under the lightning suns where there were no disciples, there were even disciples who were eager to fight, seemingly ready to charge into the lightning suns and fight. Thousands of disciples gathered in the Lamo mountains. It was extremely lively, orderly, and jubilant. What's going on? An Qi refinement disciple looked at the scene in front of him and couldn't help but be dumbfounded. He whispered, Where did the lightning suns come from? Kuan Su was obviously stunned as well. After a while he finally saw the clue and sneered, Look at the location of the lightning suns. Is it the main peak of the 8 lightning palaces? Yes, Master is right. After Kuan Su finished speaking, the other disciples came to their senses and took the lead. If it's the lightning suns produced by each lightning palace, what else could it be? Kuan Su raised his hand and pointed. These are the 8 thunder fields of the 8 lightning palaces. 8. 8 thunder fields? Of course, the Qi refinement disciples hadn't been to the thunder fields, but how could any disciple of the Imperial Thunder sect not have heard of them? They couldn't help but feel stupid. But, the dejected 12th level Qi refinement disciple said, Master, I heard that the thunder fields of the Imperial Thunder sect are 1. It's just that the exits are in each lightning palace. Well, Kuan Su was a little embarrassed. After all, he was only a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. How could he know too many secrets of the Imperial Thunder sect? He hesitated for a moment and was about to speak when a light figure flew over from nearby. It was a golden core cultivator. The golden core cultivator smiled and said, You guessed right. This is the thunder fields of the Imperial Thunder sect. Seeing this, Kuan Su didn't dare to be negligent. He hurriedly flew down from the flying boat and said respectfully, Junior greets Uncle Master Kuan Bo. Kuan Su's disciples naturally also hurriedly flew out and bowed respectfully as they received the thunderboat. Haha, why did you come back so late? The golden core cultivator named Kuan Bo raised his hand and helped everyone up. he asked with a smile, seeming to be in a good mood. Uncle Master. Kuan Su hurriedly pointed at the 12th level Qi refinement disciple and said, Zhou Hong is on the verge of foundation establishment. Although I received the sect master's order, I thought that his opportunity was rare, so I waited for a few days. However, unfortunately, I didn't dare to wait any longer. Zhou Hong. Yes, I understand. Kuan Bo looked at Zhou Hong and nodded. It's a pity this time. However, Zhou Hong, don't be discouraged. If you don't succeed this time, there will be a next time. Now that the spirit Qi of heaven and earth has changed, being able to condense true Qi and sense the foundation establishment is already not easy. You have to work harder and strive for the next foundation establishment. Yes, Uncle Master, I understand. How could Zhou Hong not complain in his heart? But what could he say? Kuan Bo seemed to see the unwillingness in Zhou Hong's heart. After pondering for a moment, he took out a jade bottle and handed it to Kuan Bo. This is the only foundation establishment pill I have left. I'll give it to you. I wish you success in reaching foundation establishment this morning. Uncle Master. When Kuan Su heard this, he hurriedly waved his hand and said, You can't do this. Under the changes of heaven and earth, the exquisite grass is becoming increasingly scarce. Foundation establishment pills in the Imperial Thunder Sect are already scarce. Haha, why are you being so polite with me? Kan Bo placed the jade bottle in front of Zhou Hong and said with a smile, No matter what, Zhou Hong is still a disciple of my Canlei Palace. I'm happy that a foundation-building disciple has appeared in my Canlei Palace. Quickly accept it. Yes, thank you, Uncle Master. Zhou Hong's eyes were a little moist. The resentment in his heart had long disappeared. He took the jade bottle and said, I've already reached foundation establishment as soon as possible. Thank you for your concern, Uncle Master. Kuan Su was naturally happy as well. After thanking him, he looked at the 8 thunderfields in the distance and said curiously, Uncle Master, I'm not too clear about the thunderfields, but I've also heard that there's only one thunderfield in the Imperial Thunder Sect. However, each Thunder Palace has a life and death temple and an entrance. Why are there 8 thunderfields now? Haha, what you all know is also correct. Kuan Bo looked at the thunderfields in the distance and said with a smile, Even I thought that there was only one thunderfield before it was separated. However, when the 8 great Thunder Palace Masters used their divine abilities to separate the thunderfields, I realized that the thunderfields were just a formation space. When combined, they were 1, and when separated, they were 8. Oh, by the way, you all should know that every time you enter the Thunder Arena, the illusion inside is different. Because the Thunder Arena is divided into 8 parts, the time you enter is different, and the location is different, so the illusion will naturally be different. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qi vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it, and reward it. Thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 51:12. I've learned something. Realization dawned on Kan Su. He looked at Kan Bo's smile and smiled as well. He asked, Uncle Master, judging from your expression, my Canlei Palace's results are not bad? Currently, the 8 great Thunder Palaces are fighting their own battles. My Canlei Palace's Thunder Arena only clears the palace branches of my Canlei Palace. Kan Bo replied, I don't know about the results of the other Thunder Palaces, but my Leisurely Rain Garden's results are not bad this time. They shouldn't be eliminated. Before the 100 Palaces competition, the disciples of Leisurely Rain Garden came to me several times to ask me to think of a solution. I was also worried about how to advise the Palace Master, but it seems that there's no need for that now. Oh right, Kan Su, Jade Mountain's results don't seem to be good. You should hurry and see if you can make it to the last round. Ha! It can't be. Kan Su was a little dumbfounded. He said in surprise, If the results don't go well, will my Jade Mountain be eliminated? Yes. Kan Bo said seriously, This time, the sect master has made up his mind to clean up from top to bottom. If Jade Mountain's results don't go well, it might really be eliminated and the disciples will join the other palaces. Yes, I understand. Kan Su panicked when he heard that and hurriedly asked, Uncle Master, where is my Jade Mountain's disciple? He should be at the northeast corner of the Canlei Palace's Thunder Arena. Go quickly. Kan Bo pointed in a direction and said, I'll take my leave. After Kan Su finished speaking, He hurriedly led his disciples away. Kanbo looked at the backs of Kansu and the others and sighed slightly. Then, he released his spiritual force and urged his body to look around. Not to mention that Kansu and the others were rushing to the Thunder Arena of the Kanlei Palace. Under the Thunder Arena of the Thunderous Palace, about a few miles to the west of the Thunder Sun, there were dozens of male and female cultivators gathered together. Wasn't the person standing in the middle of them Zhua*****, who had cultivated to the late-stage Golden Core realm? At this moment, Zhua*****'s face was filled with nervousness as he looked inside the Thunder Sun. In the Thunder Sun, there were 2 Foundation Establishment cultivators activating their Dharma artifacts and fighting. Xianxia. Seeing a middle-aged cultivator get hit by the opponent's banner due to a moment of carelessness, Zhuoyang couldn't help but cry out, "How could Xitua be so careless?" On the left side of Zhua*****, Xiangyang and Yan Qinglian were also watching nervously. Hearing Zhua*****'s question, Xiangyang and Yan Qinglian looked at each other. Xiangyang smiled bitterly and said, "Master's wife, our 10,000 Thunder Valley has few disciples. This is already Shi Tuo's 3rd battle. The first time, he barely won. This time I'm afraid." Sigh. Behind Xiangyang, an old voice said, "Master, if nothing goes wrong, Shi Tuo will lose this time." Xiangyang looked back and saw a wrinkled early-stage Golden Core Realm Elder looking at him apologetically. Although Xiangyang felt helpless, he could only console him. However, before he could say anything, Dui Qiming, who was standing to the right of Zhua Fei and was already a late-stage Golden Core Realm cultivator, said, "Jinchuan, didn't your master just say that? Shi Tuo has already won 2 matches. His opponent is Zhen Gan from the 1000 Thunder Mountain. Zhen Gan's strength is not inferior to Shi Tuo's, and this is his first match." Just as Dui Qiming said this, "Ah!" everyone cried out in alarm. Even Dui Qiming couldn't help but cry out, "Shi Tuo, he." Looking back at the Thunder Sun, the early-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator named Shi Tuo fought back despite being injured. Zhen Gan, who was also an early-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator, laughed sinisterly. He activated a hidden magic weapon from the flagpole and attacked Shi Tuo's face. However, Shi Tuo actually had the intention to burn both jade and common stone. He ignored the magic weapon and spat out a flying sword from his mouth, which went straight for Zhen Gan's throat. This flying sword was released too suddenly, and Zhen Gan was caught unprepared. Seeing that the 2 Foundation Establishment cultivators were about to perish together. Not good. Zhen Quan was greatly alarmed and cried out in a low voice. His figure flashed and he was about to rush to the Thunder Arena. It was also at this critical moment, boom! A thunderbolt appeared on the Thunder Arena and struck between Zhen Gan and Shi Tuo. The place where the thunderbolt landed slightly shifted the space where Zhen Gan and Shi Tuo were located. Boom! Whoosh! 2 low sounds were heard. Both Zhen Gan's magic tool and Shi Tuo's flying sword pierced the air. A dignified voice sounded, "This battle is a draw." As the voice fell, Shi Tuo's figure flashed. He didn't have time to withdraw his flying sword and had already fainted on the Thunder Arena. Damn it! Zhen Gan looked at Shi Tuo on the other side of the restriction and cursed in a low voice. He turned his head and looked outside the Thunder Arena. Opposite the myriad Thunder Valley was 1000 Thunder Mountain. Now, there were dozens of disciples in 1000 Thunder Mountain. The one standing in front was Jianghu, who was already in the late-stage Gold Core realm. Jianghu was still short and fat, but his hair was already completely white. His triangular eyes were now just like Zhen Gan's, flashing with anger. Zhen Quan had already flown to the bottom of the Thunder Arena. A rainbow appeared on the Thunder Arena, carrying Shi Tuo out and landing in front of Zhen Quan. Zhen Quan took Shi Tuo, took out a medicinal pill from his bosom and put it in his mouth. Then, he flew back to the myriad Thunder Valley disciples. When Zhen Quan flew back, Shi Tuo had already woken up. He looked at Zhen Quan, then at the concerned crowd. Finally he said to Zhuo Hongzhu, "Ancestor, I didn't lose to the disciples of 1000 Thunder Mountain. My myriad Thunder Valley won't be wiped out." Zhuo Hongzhu's eyes were filled with tears as she looked at Shi Tuo. She couldn't help but feel proud that myriad Thunder Valley had such a loyal disciple. Zhuo Hongzhu said, "Don't worry, child. Our myriad Thunder Valley won more than we lost in the past month. How could we be wiped out? You can rest at ease and recuperate. That's good. I'm relieved. As Shi Tuo answered, a few aura-refining disciples flew over from behind the crowd and supported him. Shi Tuo's real name was Zhen Tuo, and he was Zhen Quan's disciple. These aura-refining disciples were also his disciples. Counting with one's fingers, Myriad Thunder Valley now had 5 generations of disciples. Qinglian. After Zhen Tuo was supported by his disciples, Xianxia pondered for a moment, then said via voice transmission, Shi Tuo's Dao Foundation was damaged when he used his flying sword just now. Do you still have medicinal pills to heal him? This. Yan Qinglian hesitated for a moment, then said with a wry smile, Husband, I naturally have ordinary medicinal pills. If it were ordinary medicinal pills, would I still need to ask you? Xiangyang said somewhat anxiously, I'm asking about the medicinal pills youngest junior brother left behind. Alas, husband. How could Yan Qinglian not know the anxiety in Xiangyang's heart? She said helplessly, youngest junior brother left behind a lot of medicinal pills, but it's been several hundred years. How many are left? Shouldn't we leave some for a rainy day? I know. Xiangyang didn't hesitate and said, I've just checked Shi Tuo's injuries. If we use the sex medicinal pills, they might be able to heal his injuries, but a damaged Dao Foundation isn't easy to repair. This will be detrimental to his future cultivation. Shi Tuo fought 3 battles for our Myriad Thunder Valley. As his master, we can't make him sad. All right. Yan Qinglian still wanted to say something, but she knew Xiangyang's temper. If there was an exception, Xiangyang would have already shut his mouth when she first objected. Since he insisted on giving it to her, then she could only give it to him. Just as Yan Qinglian carefully took out a jade bottle from her storage bag, Dui Qiming suddenly said to Zhen Quan, Zhen Quan, I have the medicinal pills your second martial uncle left behind. Take them and give them to Shi Tuo. His foundation was damaged after 3 battles. If he can't repair it during the foundation establishment stage, I'm afraid it won't be easy for him to step into the golden core stage. Qiming. Yan Qinglian hurriedly took out the jade bottle and said, I have some here too. Sister-in-law. When Yan Qinglian took out the jade bottle, Dui Qiming had already stuffed another identical jade bottle into Zhen Quan's hands and said with a smile, Hong Shen is now the Deputy Hall Master of Lightning Thunder Hall. He usually sends some medicinal pills back to the valley. Although second martial brother's medicinal pills are good, Hong Shen's disciples and I have no use for them. Today, Shi Tuo made a great contribution to our Myriad Thunder Valley. We can't treat him unfairly. Dui Qiming's words weren't without pride, but her action of taking out medicinal pills was to protect the Myriad Thunder Valley's disciples. Yan Qinglian opened her mouth and said with a smile, Since that's the case, many thanks, junior martial sister. Hearing Yan Qinglian's agreement, Zhen Quan took the jade bottle and said respectfully, Many thanks, martial uncle. Zhua **** had never cared about the trivial matters of the Myriad Thunder Valley. She had only listened to Yan Qinglian and Dui Qiming's words. Now that she saw Zhen Quan leave, she looked at Dui Qiming and asked, Qiming, why hasn't Hong Shen returned yet? Reporting to mistress. Dui Qiming hurriedly said, For the 100 halls competition this time, not only will the various halls be sorted out, the various lightning palaces will also be ranked. The stronger ones will be rewarded by the sect master. The disciples of Lightning Thunder Hall have always had good cultivation. If they can get into the top 3 of Lightning Palace or the top 10 of Lightning Controlling Sect in this 100 halls competition, his position as the Deputy Hall Master might be able to take half a step forward. Therefore, he has been busy in Lightning Thunder Hall. Yes. Zhua **** nodded. If Hong Shen can become the Hall Master of Lightning Thunder Hall, our Myriad Thunder Valley will have nothing to worry about. Mistress, don't worry. Yan Qinglian laughed from the side. Let's not talk about the performance of the disciples of my Myriad Thunder Valley in this 100 halls competition. Our strength is above average among the various halls and branches of Seismic Thunder Palace. It is impossible for Thundermeng Daoist to remove my Myriad Thunder Valley from the list of halls and branches of Seismic Thunder Palace. Even if our Myriad Thunder Valley loses in this 100 halls competition, our Myriad Thunder Valley won't be eliminated because of the sect master Qianlazy's sect order. Yan Qinglian was naturally referring to the time when Qianlazy found out that Xiao Hua was nascent soul Wu Ming. On one hand, He ordered Lightning Meng Daoist to chase after Xiao Hua with the Sect Master token. On the other hand, he issued another Sect Master token. This Sect Master token was to rope Xiao Hua in and allow the Myriad Thunder Valley disciples to continue guarding the Myriad Thunder Valley. It was to let Xiao Hua see the lightning-controlling sect's sincerity, and that he wouldn't hold a grudge against them for expelling him. That's true. Zhua **** sighed in relief after hearing Yan Qinglian's words. This old one is old and forgot about this matter. With Qian Lazy's Sect Master token, our Myriad Thunder Valley should be able to sit back and relax. Vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it, tip it, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 51:13. Xiangyang looked at Zhua ****''''''''''''''''''''''''''''' worry from the side, and his heart ached. He clearly knew that the existence of Myriad Thunder Valley wasn't just Zhua Hua's responsibility as a teacher. It was also a helpless promise she had made to her master. Xiangyang still clearly remembered that over 600 years ago, after Xiao Hua had been expelled from the Imperial Thunder Sect, he had helplessly condensed his core and left seclusion. When he heard that Xiao Hua had been expelled, his complexion changed greatly. He clenched his teeth and angrily cursed Xiao Hua for losing face for Myriad Thunder Valley. When the news came later, he helplessly learned that Xiao Hua was not only the terrifying phoenix in the Great War of Daoan's Sword, but also the mysterious Yuanying stage cultivator Wu Ming, who had made great contributions in the Great War of Daoan's Sword. At that time, he was so angry that his face turned ashen and he almost vomited blood. Afterwards, he helplessly led all the disciples of the Myriad Thunder Valley to the Thunder Immortal Peak, preparing to kneel in front of the Great Thunder Hall and demand an explanation for Xiao Hua. Unfortunately, before the people of Myriad Thunder Valley could reach Thunder Immortal Peak, they were blocked by the disciples of Heavenly Thunder Palace, who then led Helpless into Huge Thunder Hall. After half a day, with a helpless expression on his face, Helpless returned with Master Qian Lei's handwritten order for Xiao Hua to return to Imperial Thunder Sect. However, just as Helplessness finished recounting what had happened in the enormous Thunder Hall, Shui of the Sun Thunder Palace hurried over, saying that she had an urgent matter to report to Helplessness. Helplessly, his discussion with Shui in the secret chamber only lasted the time it took to brew a cup of tea. Helplessly, he brought Shui out of the Myriad Thunder Valley. Before he left behind a jade slip and a sentence for Zhua Honggu. At that time, Xiangyang was also present. He clearly remembered that sentence. Your husband has an urgent matter to attend to and will be away for a few days. I will entrust the Myriad Thunder Valley to you first. When your husband returns, I will definitely revitalize the Myriad Thunder Valley and make it the center of attention. After Helplessness and Shui left, they didn't return. Not long after, Zhen Qing sent them a message saying that Helplessness and Shui's natal spirit tablet was broken. Both of them died at the same time. This news was like a bolt from the blue, and everyone in the 10,000 Thunder Valley was stunned. After all, they had just condensed their core, and the 10,000 Thunder Valley had just gotten rid of their decline and had a little hope of revival. Now, this seedling was extinguished once again. Afterward, the Imperial Thunder Sect also sent some disciples to investigate the location and cause of the two's deaths, but there was no news. Even the disciples of the Myriad Thunder Valley who went out to gain experience later left behind information about this. But after several hundred years, whether it was Helplessness, Shui, or Xiao Hua, they all seemed to have disappeared into thin air. There was no trace of them at all. In fact, everyone felt that the three of them should have died at the same time. The golden core cultivator that had just been born in the Myriad Thunder Valley was also gone. In addition to the disappearance of the Myriad Thunder Valley's Myriad Thunder Valley, the situation of the Myriad Thunder Valley became even more awkward. However, it was a good thing that Di Hongshan had some tricks up his sleeves. He was able to benefit from both sides of the Thunder Flash Hall, and his status was getting higher and higher. This was how he was able to keep the 10,000 Thunder Valley's normal expenses. Of course, because Wuqing was directly trained by Master Qian Lei, Cui Yingying was directly trained by Fairy Yao Feng of Distant Thunder Palace, and Xianxia was directly trained by Reverend Lei Meng of Thunderclap Palace. Although these palace masters did not pay special attention to Myriad Thunder Valley, with these palace masters present, other palace masters like Thousand Thunder Mountain and Swallow Thunder Ridge, who had always had a grudge against Myriad Thunder Valley, did not dare to make things difficult for them. However, it was impossible for things to go smoothly. The myriad Thunder Valley was bound to have some daily conflicts and difficulties. It was impossible for Xianxia and the rest to report to Thunder Meng Daoist for such trivial matters. Therefore, over the years, the myriad Thunder Valley's days were still tough. Not to mention the amount of spirit stones and elixirs used by the disciples. Even the quota of disciples recruited by myriad Thunder Valley was getting smaller and smaller. Regarding this situation, Zhua Xiangyang, and Yan Qinglian were well aware of it. Previously, Thunderclap Palace looked down on myriad Thunder Valley, and almost every time they recruited disciples, they did not inform myriad Thunder Valley. Later with Xiaohua, Thunderclap Palace allowed myriad Thunder Valley to recruit Zhan Quan, Zhen Fengjie, and the other third-generation disciples at once. After Xiaohua was expelled and helplessly died, myriad Thunder Valley declined. How could it not be as glorious as it used to be? Not to mention not being able to recruit disciples, Zhen Fengjie and the other third-generation disciples also died due to their lifespans reaching the end of their lifespans. Since the matter of the disciples was related to the development and survival of myriad Thunder Valley, Xiangyang did not dare to be negligent. He had accompanied Zhua *** to find Thunder Meng Daoist. Without saying a word, Thunder Meng Daoist took out the list of disciples he had recruited in the past and showed it to them. After Zhua *** and Xiangyang finished reading it, they did not say anything else. Due to the change in the heaven and earth spiritual energy, the number of disciples Imperial Thunder Sect could recruit was greatly reduced compared to before. The number of disciples that could be assigned to Thunderclap Palace was even fewer. Since the various palaces and branches could not satisfy them, how could they send these disciples to myriad Thunder Valley? However, before Zhua *** left, Thunder Meng Daoist had specially handwritten a palace lord's decree and handed it to Zhua ***. He asked Zhua *** to hand it over to Spring Thunder Palace every time Thunderclap Palace needed to assign some disciples. Therefore, myriad Thunder Valley relied on this decree to recruit Xianxia and the other fourth-generation disciples. The fourth-generation disciples could not be compared to the third-generation disciples. Their aptitude was average and their numbers were much smaller. Therefore, myriad Thunder Valley was once again reduced to one of the weaker branches of Thunderclap Palace. Of course, this was only a relative term. Because of the medicinal pills left behind by Xiaohua, especially the lightning pills, Zhua ***, Xiangyang, Yan Qinglian, Cui Hongshan, and Dui Qiming had all stepped into the Gold Core realm. Other than Xiangyang, who had limited aptitude and almost stepped into the late Gold Core realm, the other four were all in the late Gold Core realm. Of the third-generation disciples, those who died naturally could not break through to the Gold Core realm. All the other disciples were already in the early Gold Core realm. Among Xiangyang's disciples, Zhen Quan and Ping Jingyao were still alive. Zhen Fengjie and Yun Qing were dead. Among Yan Qinglian's disciples, Zhen Yetao and Xiao Fengxia were still alive. Zhen Yaoyong and Ting Tao were dead. Among Dui Qiming's disciples, Dui Mengting and Zhang Wan were still alive. Zhan Xian and Fan Yuming were dead. Di Hongshan was usually busy with the affairs of Thunderclap Palace and did not guide his disciples much. Of his disciples, other than his disciple Feng Lihe, Zhen Tingmu, Zhen Xuanfeng, and Jianghu were all dead. Not to mention the small number of fourth-generation disciples, just these 12 Golden Core cultivators alone were unimaginable in the past. Among the various palaces and branches of Seismic Thunder Palace, they could be ranked in the upper middle. Of course, Xiangyang was very clear that Seismic Thunder Palace had tens of thousands of disciples. Aside from Golden Core cultivators, there were also nascent soul cultivators, foundation establishment cultivators, and aura refining cultivators in the various palaces and branches. Seismic Thunder Palace only had a few dozen people. In terms of overall strength, they were still behind many of the palaces and branches. When he heard Lei Mingfeng's Seismic Thunder Palace issue the order to clean up the palaces and branches, his heart tightened. After the details of the 100 Palaces competition were passed down and he carefully discussed it with Cui Hongshan, his heart gradually relaxed. Since it was a martial arts practice, there must be a limit to the number of rounds and matches. Although myriad Thunder Valley had few disciples, it wouldn't be a problem for them to face 3 opponents at once. The facts also proved that at this point, the 100 Palaces competition had already ended. Myriad Thunder Valley's battle record was still good, so they should have already escaped the purge range. Alas! Xiangyang sighed. He retracted his gaze from Zhuogong's slightly relaxed face and swept it across the faces of the similarly happy disciples. He then looked towards the depths of Lamo mountain range and thought to himself, if those 3 disobedient bastards were here, why would they make my myriad Thunder Valley so difficult? The disobedient bastards that Xiangyang spoke of were naturally the 3 elites of myriad Thunder Valley led by Xianxia. That day at the Great Thunder Palace, Master Qianlei looked at Xianxia, Wu Qing, and Cui Yingying's lower dantians and understood Xiaohua's intention. He also felt that the 3 of them had outstanding aptitudes and immediately made a decision to personally guide Wu Qing's cultivation. Then, in the absence of Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master, he appointed Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master to guide Xianxia and Fairy Yao Feng to guide Cui Yingying. Master Qianlei's action was admittedly because he liked the aptitudes of Wu Qing and the others and wanted to nurture outstanding younger disciples for Imperial Thunder Sect. More importantly, he wanted to express his goodwill to Xiaohua through this action. Unfortunately, Wu Qing and Shui died, Xiaohua went missing, and Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master returned empty-handed, causing Master Qianlei's goal to fail. Of course, Xianxia and the others had outstanding aptitudes and lightning cores in their bodies. Master Qianlei did not go back on his words and indeed began to guide Wu Qing's cultivation. Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master and Fairy Yao Feng also began to nurture Xianxia and Cui Yingying. However, giving pointers wasn't the same as accepting disciples. It was also impossible for 3 nascent soul cultivators to personally teach 3 aura-refining disciples. Usually, they would only give them some pointers when the 3 of them had difficulties, and they would only take 1 day or half a day out of the year to teach them about their cultivation experiences. Normally, the 3 of them would still cultivate in Thunderous Palace. Even so, the progress of Xianxia and the others was still astonishing. They were several times faster than ordinary disciples of Thunderous Palace. Since the 3 of them were outstanding, they were naturally ostracized by the other disciples of Thunderous Palace, not to mention that they came from Myriad Thunder Valley with a shallow background. Especially after the sword battle, when the tens of thousands of captured Imperial Thunder Sect disciples returned to the sect, many of them were provoked by those with ulterior motives. They ignored Xiaohua's nameless nascent soul and came to provoke them. Some even secretly bullied the 3 of them. In this harsh environment that was comparable to the marketplace of the mortal world, the 3 of them stood out like owls. As their strength increased, from aura refining to foundation establishment, in fact, it was not so much the environment that forced them to do so. It was better to say that the 3 of them had outstanding aptitudes. Thunderous Palace's various halls were unable to suppress their strength. Not to mention that among the 3 of them, Xianxia was the oldest. Wu Qing and Cui Yingying had always followed Xianxia's lead. And with Xianxia's temper, how could he be the one to suffer losses? Not to mention being bullied by others, even if others looked at him with disdain, he would spit back at them. Therefore, ever since they were young, the 3 of them had caused a lot of trouble in Thunderous Palace. They had made many enemies for Myriad Thunder Valley. But it just so happened that the 3 of them had the same mind, as if they were one. Xianxia was eloquent, and Wu Qing was merciless in his attacks. That Cui Yingying was silent and looked abnormally shy. She always hid behind Wu Qing and Xianxia, but she would suddenly attack when others were careless. She was even more merciless. Therefore, before the 3 of them could condense their gold cores, the name of the 3 heroes of Myriad Thunder Valley had already resounded throughout the entire Thunderous Palace, and even the Thunder Mo mountain range. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark, gift, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 51:14. Xianxia and the other two's core condensation was not completed in the Imperial Thunder Sect, but during their experiential training. In addition, the 3 had been refining the dragon transformation art since they were young and cultivated the secret arts left behind by Xiaohua. When they returned to the Imperial Thunder Sect, they had already concealed their realms. Apart from the disciples of the Myriad Thunder Valley, Master Qianlei, Fairy Yao Feng, and Thunder Meng Taoist, no one knew that the 3 had already reached the gold core stage. After the 3 returned to the Myriad Thunder Valley, they hurriedly reported and immediately went into seclusion in the Lamo Mountains. They only came out after 10 years. Because the 3's progress was really shocking, whether it was Zhuohonggu, Yan Qinglian, or Dui Qiming, they were all worried that something would happen to the 3's cultivation. When they came out, the three mothers immediately called them to their side and prepared to check their cultivation. But contrary to the three mothers' expectations, the three objected in unison and refused to let them check, saying that it was Master Qian Lazy, Thundermeng Taoist, and Fairy Yao Feng's idea. Not to mention Wu Qing's unchanging expression, just from Cui Yingying's evasive words and Xianxia's slightly raised eyebrows, the three mothers knew that it was not the three nascent soul masters' idea. But seeing the three's stable realms and high spirits, they also knew that the three must have had a fortuitous encounter. So they simply did not ask and urged the three to report back to the three nascent soul masters. Xiangyang and the others did not know how the three nascent soul masters reacted, but after returning from the nascent soul masters, the three began to restrain their sharpness. They either cultivated in their own cave in the myriad Thunder Valley, gathered in the cave left behind by Xiaohua, or went to the 8 great thunder palaces to read secret arts. Of course, most of the time they went out for experiential training. In the end, even Xiangyang and the others did not know the specific cultivation of Xianxia, Wu Qing, and Cui Yingying. 100 years ago, when the three were experiential training, they suddenly received an urgent message from Master Qian Lazy and rushed back to the Imperial Thunder Sect. Without kowtowing to the masters of the myriad Thunder Valley, they directly went to the Great Thunder Hall. Then, Master Qian Lazy took them into a secret room. After a year, the three returned to the myriad Thunder Valley. After a simple report to the masters, they went to the depths of the Lamo Mountains to cultivate in seclusion. Xiangyang and the others did not know the specific reason and location. After that, Master Qian Lazy failed to transcend his tribulation and perished. The Imperial Thunder Sect changed its sect master, and so on. The three of them didn't know anything about it either. 100 years of seclusion was enough for many people to forget about the arrogant three elites of the 10,000 Thunder Valley. Many people even thought that the three of them had died. Only the teachers of the 10,000 Thunder Valley would go to the Jade Archive Hall every year to ask Zhen Qing to tell them about the situation of the three elites' natal spirit tablets. Therefore, although Xiangyang did not know how powerful the three of them were, he was clear that if the three of them were not in closed-door cultivation, the situation in the myriad Thunder Valley would be much better and Zhen Shitua would not have been injured so badly. Xiangyang did not withdraw his gaze from the depths of the Lamo mountain range. From the corner of his eyes, he saw a figure flying over from afar. Wasn't that Cui Hongshan? Cui Hongshan's appearance was still the same as before, but he was a little older than before. The affairs of the Thunder Flash Hall were much more taxing than cultivation. Although Cui Hongshan handled these affairs with ease, it was not only for his own future, but also for the status of the 10,000 Thunder Valley. It was inevitable that he would spend more effort. Therefore, even though he had the bloodline of the true spirit, he still did not have outstanding achievements in cultivation. Now, his cultivation was only at the late stage of the Gold Core realm. Junior brother Cui. Seeing Cui Hongshan flying over, Xiangyang hurriedly flew out and greeted him. With some anxiety on his face, he asked anxiously, "How's the situation?" Alas! Cui Hongshan habitually frowned and sighed. The Thunder Flash Palace has more than 40 palace branches, and my 10,000 Thunder Valley is only ranked in the top 20. There shouldn't be any problem. Hearing Cui Hongshan's sigh, Xiangyang's heart tightened and his expression changed slightly. After hearing the last part, he came to his senses and could not help but smile. He patted Cui Hongshan's shoulder and said with a smile, "You really know how to make fun of your elder brother." Haha. Cui Hongshan also smiled and said, "Senior brother, please forgive me. Am I not also trying to find joy in the midst of hardship?" Alas, that's right. Xiangyang stopped smiling and sighed like Cui Hongshan. He echoed, "Ever since we received the Sect Master token for the 100 Palace competition, we have been worried. Now, we can finally put our hearts at ease. Come, follow me to see Master's wife." She. Without waiting for Xiangyang to finish speaking, Zhua Hongshan's voice sounded behind him. "Hongshan, how's the situation?" Cui Hongshan naturally did not dare to joke with Zhua Hongshan. He hurriedly bowed and said, "Reporting to Master's wife, my 10,000 Thunder Valley is ranked 23rd in the Thunder Flash Palace's 100 Palace competition. We should be in the middle." Now the rankings of the various palace branches have been sent to Thunder Flash Peak's Thunder Flash Hall, waiting for Sect Master's decision. However, based on the rankings alone, my 10,000 Thunder Valley is definitely not on the list to be cleaned up. That's good, that's good. Zhua Hongshan finally heaved a sigh of relief. She patted her chest and said, "If the 10,000 Thunder Valley is cleaned up, I don't know how to explain it to your master." "Don't worry, master's wife." At this moment, Dui Qiming, who was beside Zhuo Hongshan, said with a smile, "My 10,000 Thunder Valley has so many golden core cultivators. We're much stronger than the other palace branches. How can we be cleaned up?" After the teachers finished speaking, the younger disciples also came over to pay their respects. Feng Lihe and the others bowed and said, "Greetings to master." "Greetings to martial uncle." Zhen Quan and the others greeted. "Everyone, get up." Cui Hongshan was in a very good mood. He took out a storage pouch and handed it to Feng Lihe, saying, "These are some elixirs. Distribute them to the disciples." "Yes, disciple understands." Feng Lihe took the storage pouch and looked at it. He distributed the elixirs inside equally to Zhen Quan and the others without any bias. After Feng Lihe distributed the elixirs, Cui Hongshan looked at Zhan Shitua in the distance. He took out a jade bottle from his chest and handed it to Zhen Quan, saying, "Zhen Quan, I saw Shitua risking his life on the Thunderflash field just now. I'm afraid his Dao foundation has been damaged. This is my collection of elixirs. Give it to Shitua." Zhen Quan hurriedly replied, "Thank you, Martial Uncle. Martial Uncle Dui has already given me elixirs." "Oh, that's good." Cui Hongshan nodded and smiled at Dui Qiming. He handed the jade bottle to her and said, "You must have the last elixir. I'll give this to you." "I don't want it." Dui Qiming pouted and said, "I've always been in the Myriad Thunder Valley and didn't go out. This elixir can't be used. You should keep it for yourself." "All right." Cui Hongshan smiled and took the jade bottle, saying, "Senior brother Zhao's elixir is really good. It's better than the elixirs refined by the best alchemist in my thunder-shocking palace. Having this elixir on me is equivalent to having an extra life." "Junior brother Cui." Xianxia smiled and said, "Go back and ask Chen Diheng. He often has some elixirs in his chamber of commerce." "Forget it." Cui Hongshan looked around and said with a bitter smile, "Chen Diheng sent some elixirs to master's wife last time. After returning, he was scolded by Kuang Tian. It is said that he was even locked up. Little brother, it's better not to cause trouble for him." Dui Qiming raised her eyebrows and said in a low voice, "Senior Kuang Tian is really unreasonable. According to Chen Diheng, his chamber of commerce was originally opened by him and senior brother Xiao. Although senior brother Xiao is no longer around, but it also has something to do with my Myriad Thunder Valley. He has no reason to." "Shoo." Xiangyang heard and hurriedly motioned for Dui Qiming to shut up. He said, "Junior sister, don't mention this again. Although senior Kuang Tian has a problem with my Myriad Thunder Valley, he didn't use his power to bully others like the other disciples. Chen Diheng has been good to my Myriad Thunder Valley. Although he didn't dare to come over openly, he usually went to look for junior brother Cui and helped my Myriad Thunder Valley a lot. It's been a few hundred years. It's really hard for him." Dui Qiming was unconvinced and said, "During the Battle of Dao and Sword, he fell into Sky Patrol City. How could it be related to our senior brother Xiao? They obviously wanted to find a scapegoat." "Qiming." Seeing that Dui Qiming had said too much, Cui Hongshan scolded, "This is something that happened a few hundred years ago. Who still remembers it now? Don't mention it again in the future. How can we know about Senior Nascent Soul's abilities? If he knows about it, it'll be bad for my Myriad Thunder Valley." Dui Qiming saw that Cui Hongshan was angry and didn't dare to say anything. Xiangyang asked, "Junior brother Cui, it seems that the next battle should be for the Palace Master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, right? It's said that Kuang Tian is determined to get the Palace Master position?" Cui Hongshan nodded and said, "That's right. Senior Kuang Tian was originally a direct disciple of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Before the Battle of Dao and Sword, he had advanced to the Nascent Soul Realm. After more than 700 years of cultivation, he has now reached the middle stage Nascent Soul Realm. Not only did he make contributions in the Battle of Dao and Sword, but he also cultivated the Thunder Escape technique. It's said that he has now reached the realm of Thunder Escape, second only to Senior Qian Lazy's Thunder Imperial Transformation. Although the Thunderclap Palace still has the Rumbling Thunder Palace's Palace Master Qian Qingzi, the Diligent Thunder Palace's Palace Master Qian Fengju, and a senior named Swift Wind Spiritual Master. They are all at the peak of the early stage nascent soul realm and have not reached the middle stage nascent soul realm. If there are no accidents, Kuang Tian will become the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. I hope that after Kuang Tian becomes the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, he won't harm my myriad Thunder Valley. Zhuo Hongshan's heart tightened as he said in a low voice. Haha, don't worry. Cui Hongshan said with a smile. This disciple is already so busy being the deputy palace master of the Rumbling Thunder Palace. If he becomes the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, why would he care about my little myriad Thunder Valley? On the contrary, that Qian Diheng will definitely gain a lot of power in the future. He will be able to take care of my myriad Thunder Valley even more. Ha ha! When Cui Hongshan said this, everyone seemed to be able to see Qian Diheng's complacent look and couldn't help but laugh. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark, tip, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 51:15. Afterwards, Cui Hongshan asked some questions about the disciples, bowed to Zhuo Hongshan, and left in a hurry. Clearly, he was taking advantage of this moment to report to Master's wife that there were still many things to be done at the Thunder Plain. Since junior brother Cui said it's fine, then it's really fine. Yan Qinglian watched Cui Hongshan leave with a smile. This was a false alarm. Alas, it's all thanks to this child. Zhuo Hongshan also looked at Cui Hongshan's back and sighed. Working hard alone in the Thunder Flash Hall. Xianxia nodded. Yes, this disciple is unworthy and can't contribute to the myriad Thunder Valley. We can only rely on junior brother Cui. Hearing this, Dui Qiming hurriedly said, Master's wife, don't praise him too much. He also treats our myriad Thunder Valley as his home. That's why he works so hard. He often says that he's Master's wife's child. If he doesn't contribute to the myriad Thunder Valley, who else can he contribute to? Zhuo Hongshan smiled slightly. She already understood Dui Qiming very well. She knew that she might be a little narrow-minded, a little show-off, or a little concerned about her own disciples, but she did have the myriad Thunder Valley in her heart. As the eldest sister-in-law, Yan Qinglian also had the demeanor of a sister-in-law and never fought with Dui Qiming for anything. Of course, Dui Qiming also respected Yan Qinglian. The myriad Thunder Valley could be considered a very harmonious home. If such a harmonious palace branch was cleaned up, then the heavenly Tao would be blind. Zhuo Hongshan thought to herself, then said something to Dui Qiming and Yan Qinglian. She quietly waited for the Thunder Plane to be put away and prepared to watch Kuang Tian display his might and obtain the position of Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Sure enough, it was only the cultivation method of a single meal. The lightning ball formed by the Thunder Arena began to gradually retract its brilliance, turning into a huge irregular shape. Then, it let out a deafening rumble as it gradually sank. At the same time, tens of thousands of light sheets stretched out from the bottom of the Thunder Arena like flowers blooming, reaching towards the various palace branches. Xiangyang and the rest understood that this was to welcome the shocking Thunder Palace's disciples to the Thunder Arena in preparation for the battle for the position of Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Master. It's been a long time since I've seen a nascent soul senior fight. Yan Qinglian looked at Zhuo Ying and said with a smile, if we can comprehend something from the fight, it should be very helpful for us to step into the nascent soul stage. Zhuo Honggu replied, my lifespan is already nearing its end. I'm afraid I won't be able to wait until the day I step into the nascent soul realm. You all still have a chance. In a moment, you must properly comprehend it. If my myriad Thunder Valley were to produce a nascent soul disciple, who would dare to look down on my myriad Thunder Valley? Speaking of nascent soul cultivators, Xiangyang couldn't help but think of Xiao Hua. Junior brother back then. However, Xiangyang only said 5 words and didn't say anything else. So what if Xiao Hua was a nascent soul cultivator back then? He has not appeared for nearly 1,000 years. Who knows whether Xiao Hua is alive or dead? Aside from the myriad Thunder Valley, who could still remember the myriad Thunder Valley disciple who shook the Sword Dao battle back then? Xiangyang had always called Xiao Hua junior brother, and Cui Hongshan junior brother Cui. At first, Dui Qiming felt very awkward when she heard it, but later, she got used to it. She knew that Xianxia was reminiscing about Xiaohua and spoiling him. Moreover, Xiaohua had indeed rendered meritorious service to the myriad Thunder Valley and was her and Cui Hongshan's savior, so she didn't fuss about it anymore. At this moment, she even said with a smile, "Although senior brother Xiao is a nameless nascent soul cultivator, I heard from Hongshan that senior brother Zhao's strength has reached the nascent soul stage, but in reality, he isn't. In other words, my myriad Thunder Valley has never produced a nascent soul cultivator. I wonder who will become the first nascent soul cultivator?" Junior sister is right. Yan Qinglian smiled and said, "If we're talking about my myriad Thunder Valley's first nascent soul cultivator, it will undoubtedly be junior brother Cui. If he didn't work hard for my myriad Thunder Valley, I'm afraid he would have already become a nascent soul." Xiangyang also nodded and said, "That's right. Junior brother Cui's aptitude is beyond my reach. The first nascent soul cultivator will definitely be him." A smile appeared on Dui Qiming's face. She understood that Cui Hongshan had already secretly told her before the new year that his long-dormant late-stage gold core cultivation had begun to show signs of loosening. If everything went smoothly, they would be able to see the results within 10 years. Seeing Dui Qiming stop talking and reveal a rare smile, how could everyone who understood Dui Qiming not know that Cui Hongshan's cultivation had improved? Thinking that a nascent soul cultivator would soon appear in the myriad Thunder Valley, all of their previous worries would turn into nothingness. Everyone couldn't help but feel happy. However, at this moment, a gust of wind whistled in the distance. Cui Hongshan, who had just left, unexpectedly flew back with a deathly pale face. What happened? Seeing Cui Hongshan in such a sorry state, Zhua Hongshan's heart suddenly jolted. As if he had a premonition, he shouted, "Hongshan is my myriad Thunder Valley master's wife." Cui Hongshan's figure stopped, and his face flushed red. He seemed to be out of breath. He adjusted his breathing slightly before saying, "Don't panic. Disciple. Disciple just heard a piece of news." "What news? Speak quickly," Zhua Hongshan urged. Disciple heard that Black Thunder Hall has 2 lists of palace branches to clean up. One was drawn up long ago. It's just some palace branches in name. The other one is the list of the 100 palace competition. Cui Hongshan said with some sorrow, "And my myriad Thunder Valley is in the first list." Damn it! Even an honest person like Xiangyang couldn't help but curse in a low voice. If that's the case, why is my myriad Thunder Valley still participating in the 100 palace competition? The important thing is to participate. Cui Hongshan bit his lips and said in a low voice, "If the first list had been announced long ago, many palace branches wouldn't have fought with their lives on the line." "Hongshan, are you sure about this news?" Zhua Hongshan took a deep breath and asked. Cui Hongshan hesitated for a moment. He didn't shake his head or nod and replied, "Disciple doesn't know, but there's no smoke without fire." "Master's wife?" Xiangyang hurriedly asked. Disciple remembers that sect master Qian Lazy personally said that the name of myriad Thunder Valley would never be removed. That was then, and this is now. Zhua Hongshan sighed. Back when Xiaohua was expelled from Imperial Thunder Sect, Sect Master Xianhua was reprimanded by Sect Master Qian Lazy. When everyone heard this, they fell silent for a moment. No one wanted to say anything. After working hard for more than a month and paying so much, several disciples were even willing to throw away their lives. But what did they get in return? An ending that had been arranged long ago? Cui Hongshan. Dui Qiming stole a glance to the left and asked in a low voice, "If Myriad Thunder Valley's name is removed, how will the disciples be dealt with?" Cui Hongshan didn't understand why Dui Qiming wanted to send him a voice transmission. He looked at her with some confusion and replied, "According to the rules of the 100 Halls contest, we will be merged into the other halls of Thunderous Palace." "Which hall?" Dui Qiming pressed. "Don't tell me you don't care." "AI, is there even a need to say it?" Cui Hongshan didn't want to be pushed too hard and replied, "Thunderous Palace is guarded by Myriad Thunder Valley and Thousand Thunder Mountain. My Myriad Thunder Valley will definitely be sent to Thousand Thunder Mountain." "That's what I thought." Dui Qiming said, "Thousand Thunder Mountain's Jianghu isn't someone easy to deal with. If my Myriad Thunder Valley's disciples fall into his hands, it won't bode well for us. Husband, I remember you once said that the Deputy Hall Master of Thunderous Palace can let his disciples merge into Thunderous Palace." Without waiting for Dui Qiming to finish, Cui Hongshan's expression changed, and he said angrily, "What are you trying to say? Don't tell me you want to merge into Thunderous Palace? My myriad Thunder Valley's disciples should go through thick and thin together. At this moment, how can you think of escaping first?" Dui Qiming smiled bitterly and transmitted, "Husband, how can I not think for myriad Thunder Valley? I'm also willing to go through thick and thin with Master's wife and senior martial brother. But if we fall into Thousand Thunder Mountain, we will definitely be sent to guard the edge of Thousand Thunder Mountain's Thunder Abyss. From then on, our cultivation won't be able to progress." "Don't say any more," Cui Hongshan said coldly. "This Cui will definitely not be separated from Master's wife and the rest. Do you have the heart to let Yingying guard Thousand Thunder Mountain for the rest of her life? Be a golden core cultivator like us for the rest of her life?" Dui Qiming was also a little anxious and said, "If you don't want to be separated from Master's wife and the rest, I can accompany you. But can I trouble you to send your daughter to Thunderous Palace?" Cui Hongshan was at a loss for words. He understood that as the deputy palace master of Thunderous Palace, he naturally didn't need to guard Thousand Thunder Mountain. However, if Cui Yingying was sent to Thousand Thunder Mountain, she would have to listen to Jianghu's arrangements. How could Jianghu tolerate a myriad Thunder Valley disciple being pregnant? He would definitely send Cui Yingying, Wu Qing, and even Xianxia to the deepest part of Thousand Thunder Mountain to guard. Thinking about it, how could Cui Yingying peacefully be pregnant under the bombardment of Thousand Thunder Mountain? "Darling Cui," Dui Qiming advised again, "think about it again. If we go to Thunderous Palace first, won't the myriad Thunder Valley only be left with senior martial brother, Master's wife, and Wu Qing? When there's a chance in the future, we'll go find Thunder Meng's spiritual master. Presumably, he won't watch Xianxia guard Thousand Thunder Mountain, right? As long as we avoid this storm and move senior martial brother and Master's wife into Thunderous Palace, wouldn't that be enough?" Thunder Meng's spiritual master. Hearing Dui Qiming mention Thunder Meng's spiritual master, Cui Hongshan's eyes brightened. He couldn't be bothered to transmit to Dui Qiming anymore and said to Zhua****, "Master's wife, quickly, let's go find Thunder Meng's spiritual master." "Yes, yes." Zhua*** also seemed to have woken up from a dream and cried out, "How could I be so stupid? Leaving the Thunderous Palace master and not asking for help. Could it be that we're just going to sit here and wait for death?" "Cui Hongshan." Dui Qiming was somewhat angry and cried out, "Did I say all that for nothing?" "Qiming." Cui Hongshan said somewhat apologetically, "You're right. For Yingying, we can do that. However, don't forget, without everyone, where would there be a small family? Without myriad Thunder Valley, we'll be drifters wherever we go. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a tip, and Chapter 51:16. After saying that, Cui Hongshan turned his head and urged Xiangyang, "Quick, senior martial brother, let's go with mistress to find Reverend Lei Meng. If we wait for the purge list to come out, it would be too late." "All right." Xiangyang turned and ordered, "You wait here, master, and I will go find." "Master, look." Without waiting for Xiangyang to finish, Zhen Quan's face turned pale. He pointed at the Thunder Arena and said, "The elimination list seems to have come out. So fast?" Xiangyang was shocked and hurriedly looked in the direction Zhen Quan was pointing. After seeing it clearly, Xiangyang's face was as pale as everyone else's. On the Thunder Arena, a light screen about 100 zhong in size appeared. It looked like a flag and a scroll. Lightning flickered on the light screen. Huge words were written like thousands of ink brushes at the same time. The names of more than 10 palaces flickered with different lightning as they were displayed in front of the disciples of Seismic Thunder Palace. The 3 words Myriad Thunder Valley were actually at the top of the list. Boom! Once the list came out, thousands of disciples of Seismic Thunder Palace shouted. Some were happy because they were lucky to escape, while others were sad because they had fallen into the elimination list. Not waiting for the nearby shouts to subside. Rumble! Another rumbling sound rang out, and another light screen was unveiled. An enormous lightning bolt, like an ink brush, began to write on it. The 100 Halls contest for the ranking of Thunder Palace. Immediately, more disciples of Seismic Thunder Palace began to shout and shout. Everyone looked at the light screen in excitement. Each palace wanted to see their own ranking. To go or not to go? Seeing that the situation was set, Xianxia hesitated and asked Zhuo Hongshan in a low voice. Zhuo Hongshan bit his lips until they turned white. He was also hesitant. At this time, Cui Hongshan said loudly, "Mistress, don't hesitate. If we don't go, our myriad Thunder Valley will definitely be merged into Thousand Thunder Mountain. If we go, our myriad Thunder Valley may have a chance to survive. Since we have already fallen into a desperate situation, there is no worse outcome than this. What are we afraid of?" "We are naturally not afraid of anything," Xiangyang said in a low voice. "But if we go find Thunder Meng Reverend, wouldn't we be provoking conflict between him and Fairy Xianhua?" "Eldest senior brother," Cui Hongshan grumbled. "Why are you as indecisive as senior brother Xiao? We have already fallen into such a predicament, and Lei Meng Reverend is our last straw of hope. If we don't beg him, who else can we beg? Think about it, if Li Er was here, what would he do?" Yan Qinglian narrowed her eyes and said, "Li Er will definitely rush to Thunder Meng Daoist's door and ask him why he treated the myriad Thunder Valley this way." "That's right." Xiangyang nodded and said, "Since Li Er isn't here, this old man will go in his place." "This old one will go with you." Zhuo **** also threw away her patience. Her eyes flashed with unswerving determination as she said, "Even if the myriad Thunder Valley is to be cleaned up, we will still fight for it." Immediately, Zhuo ****, Xiangyang, and Cui Hongshan urged their figures to fly to the other side of the Thunder Arena. Not long after, the three of them flew to the front of the rushing Thunder Hall. Before they could get close, a patrolling disciple flew up to block them. The patrolling disciple was obviously familiar with Cui Hongshan. He smiled and said, "Hall Master Cui, the battle between the Palace Lords of the Heavenly Thunder Palace is about to begin. This is an exciting event that all late Gold Core stage cultivators are eagerly anticipating. Why are you not waiting at the Thunder Arena, but coming to the rushing Thunder Hall?" "Hee, so it's martial nephew Zhen Qing." A smile appeared on Cui Hongshan's face, but he didn't answer his question. Instead he asked, "I remember that a few days ago, martial nephew Hong Xing went to Lightning Flash Hall to collect some rumor pills. It seems like you and another martial nephew were injured. How come you are back on duty in such a short time? You are working so hard for the rushing Thunder Hall. This old man really admires you." Hearing Cui Hongshan mention the pills, Zhan Qing was slightly surprised and said, "Hall Master Cui, you are indeed meticulous. You actually remembered such a small matter in your heart?" "Martial nephew, you are wrong." Cui Hongshan smiled and said, "Everything in the Shocking Thunder Palace is not a small matter. You have sweated and bled for the Shocking Thunder Palace. How can we be careless? I see that your injuries have not healed, so you'd better rest for a few more days. When I am on duty tomorrow, you can send a disciple to the Thunder Hall. I will get some suitable pills for you to heal your injuries. Don't leave any side effects." "Hee, thank you very much, Hall Master Cui." Zhen Qing was overjoyed and cupped his hands. "I will go to the Thunder Hall tomorrow to pay my respects to Senior." Then, Zhen Qing looked around and said in a low voice, "It's not that I don't want to rest, but there are too many disciples coming to the rushing Thunder Hall these days. I can only drag my sick body to come on duty. However, Hall Master Cui, you've come late today. In front of you, 4 palace branches have already entered to pay their respects to the Palace Lord. The Palace Lord has already ordered that any palace branches that have been cleaned up are not allowed to enter the rushing Thunder Hall. After all, the list has already been cleaned up. What is done cannot be undone. Once they enter the rushing Thunder Hall, they can only cry and disturb. It's useless." Xiangyang opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but Cui Hongshan pulled Xiangyang's sleeve and said to Zhen Qing with a smile, "Martial nephew, you have misunderstood. We are not here to ask the Palace Lord about the list. We want to ask the Palace Lord where Xiang Zhili, Cui Yingying, and Wu Qing have gone. Such a big thing has happened in the Myriad Thunder Valley, we can't not tell them." "Oh!" How could Zhen Qing not know what Cui Hongshan meant? He was surprised and said, "If that's the case, Hall Master Cui, you'd better go in quickly. The 3 heroes of the Myriad Thunder Valley are the disciples personally taught by the Palace Lord, Fairy Yao Feng, and the former sect leader. They are role models in our eyes. Their whereabouts are very important. Many thanks, martial nephew. Cui Hongshan cupped his hands at Zhanqing and hurriedly entered the rushing thunder hall. Zhuo Hongshan and Xiangyang also smiled at Zhanqing and followed. Zhanqing looked at the backs of the three people and shook his head slightly. Then, he suddenly raised his head and looked at where Cui Hongshan and the others came from. He shouted, "Which palace's disciples are they? Quickly stop." In front of the rushing thunder hall, there were naturally other disciples on patrol. These disciples blocked the path of Cui Hongshan and the others. They did not ask for the purpose of their visit, but only checked the nameplates. Cui Hongshan was familiar with these disciples, but he also took out the nameplates to check. After checking according to the rules, a disciple on patrol said in a low voice, "Hallmaster Cui, you should have come earlier. Look, there are 3 palaces disciples waiting outside the hall." At this moment, there is already one inside the hall. As the disciple was speaking, the door of the rushing thunder hall opened. 2 old men walked out silently with disappointment on their faces. The disciples of the 3 palaces disciples who had been waiting outside the hall hurried over and asked in a low voice, "Senior brother Zhenzhen, how is the situation?" Alas! The old man named Zhenzhen sighed and shook his head slightly. He did not say much and left. The disciple of the palace's disciples looked at the half-open door and hesitated for a moment. Then, he waved his hand and led his disciples into the rushing thunder hall. Alas! Cui Hongshan understood that these palace's disciples were all on the list. Like him, they also wanted to try their luck here. He could not help but sigh. It's not that this old man did not want to come earlier. It's just that my myriad Thunder Valley did not fall behind in the 100 Palaces competition. This old man did not expect to be listed. "Haha, Hallmaster Cui, what are you afraid of?" The disciple laughed. "Although the myriad Thunder Valley is gone, you are the deputy hallmaster of the Shuttling Thunder Hall. Your disciples can be affiliated with the Shuttling Thunder Hall." This old man is afraid of letting down this old man's senior brother. Cui Hongshan said word by word seriously. The disciple obviously did not know Xiaohua. He looked at Xiangyang strangely and said with a smile, "Then this junior wishes you all good luck." Scram! At this moment, Thundermeng Reverend's angry roar rang out from the rushing thunder hall. "Sect Master has already written your Lei Pingshan's name on the list. Your Lei Pingshan is ranked 4th from the bottom in the 100 Palaces competition. How do you want this old man to keep your Lei Pingshan here? You want this old man to go to Sect Master and ask for a rebuff? Do you think this old man's face is not my face?" Following Thundermeng Reverend's angry roar, the old man who had entered the rushing thunder hall earlier walked out dejectedly with a red face. "Palace guards!" Thundermeng Reverend's thunderous voice rang out in the hall. "Chase away all these palace's disciples who came here to cheat. Whoever dares to let in." Hearing Thundermeng Reverend's anger, Cui Hongshan's face changed greatly. He did not dare to be the slightest bit negligent. He urged his body to rush recklessly towards the rushing thunder hall. Xiangyang and Zhuo Wu did not react at first. They only saw Cui Hongshan rushing towards the rushing thunder hall and hurriedly followed. When they arrived in front of the hallmaster, the last few words of Thundermeng Reverend's sentence rang out. "Humans, this old man wants your heads." That was close. Zhuo Wu's figure landed in front of the rushing thunder hall. Behind her, many palace guards had already heard the news and moved to chase away Zhuo Wu and the other palace's disciples. "Palace Master." Cui Hongshan's figure had just stepped through the door of the rushing thunder hall when he shouted loudly, "Disciple Cui Hongshan, the deputy hallmaster of Lightning Thunder Hall, has an important matter to report. Come in." Thundermeng Reverend's voice was still filled with anger. However, when he heard that the deputy hallmaster of Lightning Thunder Hall had come, he thought that it was for some official business. He suppressed his anger and said loudly. When Thundermeng Reverend's voice rang out, a few palace guards who had rushed to the door stopped and turned to the other palace's disciples. Their faces were as fierce as fiends. Obviously, they were afraid that Thundermeng Reverend would really take their heads. Lucky! Cui Hongshan's back was covered in a layer of cold sweat. He knew very well that if he had hesitated for a moment longer, no matter how familiar he was with the palace guards, he would not be able to stand in front of the door, let alone enter the rushing thunder hall. Cui Hongshan tidied up his Taoist robe. Zhuo Wu and Xianxia also looked up and down. After tidying up, Cui Hongshan raised his hand and invited Zhuo Wu and Xianxia to go first. He then entered the rushing Thunderhall himself. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a reward, and happy birthday to Wuxia. And thank you fellow Taoists for your support towards Shen cultivation. Chapter 51:17. Oh! Holding a jade slip in his hand, Thunder Meng Taoist seemed to be looking for something. Seeing Zhua **** and Xiangyang enter first, he could not help but stare blankly. Putting down the jade slip, he looked strangely at Cui Hongshan who entered last and asked curiously, "What are you doing here?" Seeing Thunder Meng Taoist's aged appearance, Zhua Hongshan could not help but shed tears. She flew to Thunder Meng Taoist's seat and knelt down. "Palace Master, please save Myriad Thunder Valley. Please don't eliminate it. Otherwise, when Xiaohua returns, how will he find his home?" Thunder Meng Taoist was stunned and asked, "Eliminate Myriad Thunder Valley? What do you mean? Isn't your Myriad Thunder Valley ranked in the middle of the 100 Palaces competition? This old man has just checked the rankings. How can it be eliminated?" Hearing Thunder Meng Taoist's words, Cui Hongshan's heart calmed down. Since Thunder Meng Taoist did not know about the elimination of Myriad Thunder Valley, then this matter must not have been passed through Shocking Thunder Palace. Thunder Meng Taoist had enough reason to bring them to Shocking Thunder Palace. Cui Hongshan hurriedly stepped forward and said respectfully, "Reporting to Palace Master, my Myriad Thunder Valley is indeed ranked in the middle of the 100 Palaces competition. However, in the list of elimination, my Myriad Thunder Valley is ranked first. This is why this junior and the others are extremely puzzled. Although my 10,000 Thunder Valley no longer has a 10,000 Thunder Valley, and can be considered a hall branch that exists in name only, Sect Master Qian Lazy personally said that he would let my 10,000 Thunder Valley exist forever in the Great Thunder Hall, so as to leave a memento for my senior martial brother Xiao, and to commend his achievements in the Great Sword Battle. Although you were not in the Great Thunder Palace that day, Sect Master Xianhua was there." Damn it! Hearing this, Thunder Meng Taoist understood the reason for this matter. He immediately raised his hand and picked up another jade slip on the jade table and checked it with his divine sense. Sure enough, in this jade slip was a list of palace branches to be eliminated, and Myriad Thunder Valley was in sight. Seeing this, Xiangyang knelt on the ground with a plop and kowtowed. "My Lord Palace Lord, this junior earnestly requests my Lord Palace Lord to make a decision for my Myriad Thunder Valley and leave behind my Myriad Thunder Valley name. If Sect Master feels that my 10,000 Thunder Valley is useless, then in the future, my 10,000 Thunder Valley will no longer receive any spirit stones, pills, or other items from the Thunderous Palace. Juniors will." "Don't say any more." Thunder Tomb Reverend waved his hand and said, "Let this old man think carefully." Upon hearing this, the Zhuo brothers, who were about to kneel, hastily stopped. They did not even dare to breathe loudly as they looked at Lei Meng Taoist. In their hearts, they knew that Lei Meng Taoist was pondering the consequences of speaking to Fairy Xianhua. Thunder Meng Taoist raised his brows and cried out loudly, "Shiming, bring me the 7th jade slip in the first compartment of the heaven column in Slow Thunder Pavilion." "Yes, I understand." Behind Thunder Rush Palace, the clear voice of a boy rang out. Moments later, a boy clad in a green Taoist robe respectfully presented a jade slip to Reverend Lei Meng. Thunder Talisman Reverend took the jade slip, looked at it for a moment, then stood up and said, "Let's go, follow me to Dark Thunder Palace." "Yes, I understand." The Zhuo brothers did not know what was written in the jade slip, but seeing that Thunder Tomb Reverend wanted to go to Dark Thunder Palace, they were naturally happy. After bowing, they followed Thunder Tomb Reverend into the back of the palace. Seeing that Thunder Tomb Reverend did not lead them out of Thunder Rush Palace, but to the back of the palace, even Cui Hongshan was puzzled. But after passing through a few palaces, they saw a small teleportation array in one of the palaces. Only then did they understand that there was a teleportation array between Dark Thunder Palace and Dark Thunder Palace. However, when the disciple guarding the teleportation array activated it, Thunder Tomb Reverend waved his hand and ordered the disciple, "You all go down first, wait for my order before coming in." "Yes." The disciples hurriedly retreated. Thunder Tomb Reverend looked at the puzzled Zhuo brothers, Xiangyang and Cui Hongshan, and said apologetically, I've been busy with work these past few days. I really did not know about the matter of sect leader clearing the myriad Thunder Valley. Zhua brothers was about to open their mouths, but Thunder Tomb Reverend raised his hand to stop them. He continued, however, since sect leader hid it from me and announced the name list, this matter can be considered done. If I go to Dark Thunder Palace to plead with sect leader, I'm afraid it's already too late. This old man has heard about what sect master Qian Lazy said in the Great Thunder Hall that day, but you all must be clear. Sect Master Qian Lazy also issued a Sect Master command that day to allow Xiaohua to return to the Imperial Thunder Sect. But what about that Sect Master command? Since I failed to pursue Xiaohua, then the sect leader's order was also fruitless, right? So, since some things have not been confirmed, they can't be taken as true. Of course, since I've said it and all of you have heard it, we naturally have to fight for it. As for the result of the fight, you don't have to worry about it. In particular, when Lord Sect Leader ascended to the position of Sect Leader, he still had some grudges with this old man. Therefore, this old man can guarantee that the result will not be optimistic. Everyone was a little dumbfounded. Although Thunder Tomb Reverend's words were pessimistic, there was also a kind of arrogance in his tone, as if he had some confidence. Although Cui Hongshan was the deputy palace master of Dark Thunder Palace, he was also a little confused. However, he already had a plan in his heart. After Thunder Tomb Reverend finished speaking, he hurriedly bowed to him and said, Palace Master, we don't know anything, we'll listen to Palace Master's arrangement. N. Thunder Tomb Reverend said as he took out an ancient jade slip from his bosom and handed it to Zhua brothers. He said, You all found this in Myriad Thunder Valley, it has nothing to do with me. Zhua brothers was stunned and took the jade slip, not knowing what to do. Cui Hongshan hurriedly reminded, Master's wife, this is a jade slip that Master picked up in Myriad Thunder Valley. Quickly take a look at the contents. Zhua brothers then handed the jade slip to Cui Hongshan and said, Hongshan, take a look. This was left behind by your master. When we were in danger in Myriad Thunder Valley, this old woman found it. Now, this old woman has brought it to ask Palace Master to make the decision. I hope you all can understand this old woman's painstaking efforts. Cui Hongshan looked at Xianxia. According to the order of the jade slip, Xianxia should be the one to look at it. However, Xianxia nodded at Cui Hongshan, indicating that Cui Hongshan should look at it first. Cui Hongshan hurriedly took it. After using his divine sense to read it, a look of understanding appeared on his face and he handed the jade slip to Xianxia. 7 lightning flashing sun? Xiangyang's divine sense entered and he immediately cried out. N. Thunder Tomb Reverend was not surprised by Xiangyang's surprise and nodded. If Myriad Thunder Valley wants to exist, this is the only way. Let's go. Following Thunder Tomb Reverend's order, the disciples guarding the transmission array returned and activated it. Zhua brothers and the rest followed Thunder Tomb Reverend into the transmission array. When they came out of the transmission array, they found themselves in another small hall. Because it was a short-distance transmission, Zhua brothers and the rest did not feel anything special. Before they could stabilize themselves, they heard a disciple exclaim in surprise. Senior Thunder Tomb, why are you here at this time? Is there anything urgent? Has Sect Master left? Thunder Tomb Reverend did not answer, but asked instead. Sect Master has just left Halcyon Thunder Hall and is about to head to the Thunder Arena. The battle between the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace is about to begin. The Palace Guard was obviously looking forward to the battle, and his mouth was filled with excitement. Thunder Tomb Reverend said coldly, Sect Master, please return. This old man has something to discuss with her. This. The Palace Guard hesitated, but before he could speak, Thunder Tomb Reverend raised his hand and a thunderous sound rang out. It was the Thunder Emperor Sect's unique Thunderlight sound transmitting talisman. Senior, please. Seeing that his hesitation had offended Thunder Tomb Reverend, the Palace Guard pulled a long face and raised his hand to invite Thunder Tomb Reverend to Halcyon Thunder Hall. Halcyon Thunder Hall was similar to Great Thunder Hall and Rushing Thunder Hall, but with some additional embellishments, it looked somewhat feminine. When Zhua brothers and Thunder Tomb Reverend arrived at Halcyon Thunder Hall, there were no other people in the hall except for a few palace guards. Thunder Tomb Reverend was not in a hurry. He raised his hand and pointed at a place in the hall saying, Kneel there. Yes, Junior understands. Without any hesitation, Zhuo brothers and the rest walked to that place in the hall and knelt down. Thunder Tomb Reverend clasped his hands behind his back and looked at the jade chairs in the hall. He shook his head slightly, sighed, and walked to a jade chair in the hall, sat down, and began to meditate. Thunderbolt Reverend looked like he was meditating, but his heart was stirred. 70 years ago, Master Qian Lazy was comprehending the lightning escape art in the lightning pool. Suddenly, he had an epiphany, which allowed him to break through to the separating divinity realm, which attracted the thunder tribulation. Master Qian Lazy hastily crossed the tribulation. Although he had prepared well, he still died under the separating divinity thunder tribulation, leaving no trace behind. Because Master Qian Lazy's separating divinity thunder tribulation came too suddenly, Master Qian Lazy did not expect it at all. Therefore, there were many twists and turns in the selection of the sect leader of Imperial Thunder Sect. After Master Qian Lazy reached the late Yuanying stage 700 years ago, he had already considered a candidate for the new sect leader. After that, he often used the Canlei Palace's Reverend Mi Yu in the affairs of the sect. Moreover, Reverend Mi Yu's strength was also outstanding. It was unknown what kind of opportunity she had obtained, but her lightning escape art had advanced by leaps and bounds, and there was a tendency for her to catch up with Master Qian Lazy. However, Reverend Mi Yu's luck was shallow. After her cultivation reached the middle Yuanying stage, she was unable to advance even an inch. During one of her experiential learning, Reverend Mi Yu fell in the Sunrise Mountain Range, one of the 10 most dangerous places in the country of Xi. Reverend Mi Yu's fall caught Master Qian Lazy somewhat unprepared. However, this was not out of his arrangement, because Thunder Tomb Reverend had always been Reverend Mi Yu's substitute. Unfortunately, before Master Qian Lazy could confirm Thunder Tomb Reverend's status, Master Qian Lazy encountered the separating divinity thunder tribulation. All of a sudden, Imperial Thunder Sect and Thunder Tomb Reverend were pushed into an extremely awkward situation. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, gift it, and Chapter 51:18. With Thunder Meng Reverend's ability, he was more than qualified to be the sect leader of Imperial Thunder Sect. However, without Master Qian Lazy's personal appointment and the approval of the Palace Lords, Thunder Meng Reverend's qualifications were not as good as Fairy Xianxia of Earth Thunder Palace and Fairy Xianfeng of Mythical Thunder Palace. Therefore, Thunder Meng Reverend was at a disadvantage in the competition for the position. Fairy Xianfeng knew her own limitations and did not participate in the competition for the position. Before Master Qian Lazy appointed Reverend Mi Yu, Fairy Xianxia was also one of the candidates under Master Qian Lazy's consideration. She even acted as the sect leader of Imperial Thunder Sect for a period of time. However, due to her mishandling of matters several times, Master Qian Lazy was not satisfied with her. Therefore, he gave her up and considered Reverend Mi Yu and Thunder Meng Reverend instead. At this time, the position of sect leader was vacant, and Master Qian Lazy had not appointed a specific candidate. Even if Fairy Xianxia had no ambition, her ambition was still exaggerated by the disciples of Earth Thunder Palace. Thunder Meng Reverend was in a difficult position. On one hand, he was encouraged by the disciples of Thunderclap Palace, and on the other hand, the palace lords of other Thunderclap palaces supported him openly and secretly. If she was a wise female cultivator, she would have avoided the situation and focused on cultivation, not putting the position of sect leader of Imperial Thunder Sect in her eyes. However, Fairy Xianxia had been the sect leader of Imperial Thunder Sect for a period of time, and had tasted the taste of power. Moreover, she did not reflect on her mistakes, and only felt that it was Master Qian Lazy's prejudice. Therefore, she became more and more determined to get the position of sect leader. Under such circumstances, if Thunder Meng Reverend wanted to compete for the position, it would be hard to avoid disputes. This dispute was not like the competition for the position of Palace Lord of Heavenly Thunder Palace, which could be settled with a fight. Therefore, Thunder Meng Reverend was very hesitant. His consideration was not as simple as Fairy Xianxia's. During the Sword Dao War, tens of thousands of disciples of Imperial Thunder Sect were captured, and the sect had spent a lot of energy stones to redeem them. Later on, due to the sudden change in the heaven and earth energy, Imperial Thunder Sect could not recruit enough disciples. At that time, the overall strength of Imperial Thunder Sect had dropped by a lot. On top of that, Master Qian Lazy and Reverend Mi Yu had fallen, and if Thunder Talisman Reverend and Fairy Xianxia were to fight, Imperial Thunder Sect would definitely suffer a great loss. Therefore, after some consideration, Thunder Talisman Reverend decided to give up the position of sect leader, and openly supported Fairy Xianxia to become the sect leader. Although Fairy Xianxia had become the sect master, the Imperial Thunder Sect had avoided a crisis and the Xuanyan cult and the others did not have the opportunity to covet the Imperial Thunder Sect. The various drawbacks of Fairy Xianxia taking charge of the Imperial Thunder Sect had once again appeared. Of course, most of the time, the matters of the Imperial Thunder Sect were the result of a joint discussion between the palace masters of the 8 great lightning palaces. Fairy Xianxia would often follow the good advice of others. However, an inexplicable cleanup of the 10,000 Lightning Valley would occasionally occur. Whenever something like this happened, it would inevitably cause some waves, and Fairy Xianxia was unable to control these waves. Instead of using an iron fist, she would overturn her own decision, and as time passed, Fairy Xianhua's authority would inevitably weaken. Among the 8 great lightning palaces of the Imperial Thunder Sect, there were many examples of Fairy Xianxia overturning the latest decision. Only the shocking Thunder Palace had not done such a thing in the past 100 years. Needless to say, Thunder Tablet Reverend was certain that Fairy Xianxia was demonstrating to him that she was more qualified than him to take charge of the Imperial Thunder Sect. Therefore, Thunder Tablet Reverend had no confidence in the matter of the 10,000 Lightning Valley today. Just as Thunder Tablet Reverend thought of this, a noise came from outside the shocking Thunder Palace. Not daring to be negligent, Thunder Tablet Reverend hastily opened his eyes. Reflected in his eyes was naturally Fairy Xianhua's ashen face. "Greetings, Sect Master." Thunder Tablet Reverend bowed and said, "Lei Meng." Fairy Xianxia walked towards the jade chair at the head of the shocking Thunder Palace and said coldly, "What urgent matter do you have to send out a thunderlight sound-transmitting talisman?" When Thunder Tablet Reverend heard Fairy Xianxia call him Lei Meng, and even pretended not to see Zhuanghu and the other 2 kneeling on the side of the palace, the anger in his heart instantly surged. However, just as he was about to open his mouth, his eyes caught sight of Zhuanghu's slightly trembling figure when he saw the sect master. Thunder Tablet Reverend took a deep breath, suppressing his anger, and said respectfully, "What urgent matter could I have?" "The matter of life and death is these disciples." "Matter of life and death?" Fairy Xianhua's figure stopped, and she turned her head to look at Thunder Tablet Reverend with narrowed eyes, and asked curiously, "What do you mean? What disciples? What matter of life and death?" "Naturally, it's the disciples of the myriad Thunder Valley." Thunder Tablet Reverend was already somewhat angry. Although he lowered his voice, there was still the power of thunder in his voice. "They have guarded the myriad Thunder Valley for countless years for my Thunder Control Sect. Now that the myriad Thunder Valley is no more, the myriad Thunder Valley will be wiped out." Although they fought their way out in the 100 Palaces competition, they were still unable to prevent the fate of being wiped out. They want to ask, is this fair to them? Oh, myriad Thunder Valley? At this moment, Fairy Xianxia pretended to have noticed Zhua **** and the rest. However, her gaze swept past the 3 of them and landed on Lei Meng Daoist. She seemed to be appreciating Lei Meng Daoist's anger, and said in an exaggerated tone, "I thought you had something important to do. So it's for myriad Thunder Valley. If I had known this earlier, I wouldn't have turned back. Could it be that my decision has already been announced to the public, and you want me to take it back?" "Sect Master." Zhuanghu had just gathered her courage to speak, but Fairy Xianxia completely ignored her, and shouted again, "Moreover, Lei Meng, didn't you just say it yourself? If the myriad Thunder Valley is without lightning, then what is the value of the myriad Thunder Valley? Instead of guarding a useless valley, they might as well be absorbed into another palace and contribute to your shocking Thunder Palace and my Imperial Thunder Sect." Cui Hongshan bit his lips and endured. He knew that as long as he opened his mouth, he would definitely offend Fairy Xianxia, and his future in the Imperial Thunder Sect would be strangled. However, when he saw Zhuanghu open her mouth, not knowing how to interrupt, he hastily took advantage of Fairy Xianxia to ask Thunder Tablet Reverend, "Sect Master, my myriad Thunder Valley is a palace branch of Shocking Thunder Palace. Whether it exists or not, we can work for Shocking Thunder Palace. If Shocking Thunder Palace needs to guard any place, my myriad Thunder Valley disciples will not hesitate to die 10,000 times. My myriad Thunder Valley disciples just want to keep..." "Shut up!" Unfortunately, before Cui Hongshan could finish, Fairy Xianxia shouted, "This is Shocking Thunder Palace, not your Shocking Thunder Palace, and not Shining Thunder Palace. What right do you have to speak?" Cui Hongshan was stunned at first and was about to lower his head, but the moment he did so, he raised his head and looked at Fairy Xianxia, saying righteously, "Sect Master is wrong. Whether it's Shuttling Thunder Hall, Deafening Thunder Palace, or even this Shuttling Thunder Hall, they all belong to the Imperial Thunder Sect. As a disciple of the Imperial Thunder Sect, I have the right to speak in the Imperial Thunder Sect. Unless the Sect Master expels me from the Imperial Thunder Sect, I wouldn't dare to speak nonsense here." Damn it! Fairy Xianxia was furious. She suddenly released her mid-yuanying stage pressure and rushed towards Cui Hongshan like a river. Thunder Tablet Reverend sneered. How could he let Cui Hongshan be suppressed by her pressure? He was also a mid-yuanying stage cultivator, and even more powerful than Fairy Xianxia. Boom boom boom. It was as if countless big hands were hitting each other in midair. Waves of air rose and scattered. Ouch! At this time, outside Shocking Thunder Palace, several surprised voices sounded. "Sect Master, Palace Master Thunder Tablet, what is going on?" Along with these voices, several subordinate palace masters of Heavenly Thunder Palace arrived, just in time. Humph. Thunder Tablet Reverend coldly snorted and was the first to retract his pressure. Fairy Xianxia was also anxious. She could not really harm Cui Hongshan. At this moment, she also retracted her pressure and walked behind the jade table with a cold snort. Isn't this Thunder Palace's Shining Thunder Palace's Deputy Palace Master Cui? Void Thunder Palace's Palace Master Kuan Shen looked at Cui Hongshan and called out in a slightly exaggerated manner, "Why did you come to Shocking Thunder Palace instead of enjoying the battle between the Palace Masters of Heavenly Thunder Palace?" Cui Hongshan raised his eyes and looked at this late Jindan stage old man. Although he knew that he was doing it on purpose, he still smiled and said, "Palace Master Kuan, although I am the Thunder Palace's Deputy Palace Master, I am also a disciple of Myriad Thunder Valley." "Oh, Myriad Thunder Valley!" Kuan Shen immediately understood. He glanced at Fairy Xianxia and explained, "I know about this matter. That day when I was dealing with the rest of the palace branches of Heavenly Thunder Palace, he even asked me about it. Your Myriad Thunder Valley already exists in name only, and there are many idle disciples under your name. Cough cough. I remember that your thunderous palace has 3 children who are known as the 3 heroes of the Myriad Thunder Valley. They have made a great name for themselves in the Imperial Thunder Sect. They are all children with poor aptitudes, so don't waste your future because of idleness." Humph. Thunder Tablet Reverend snorted and said faintly, "Kuan Shen, what qualifications do you have to judge the 3 heroes of Myriad Thunder Valley? Have you seen their cultivation base?" This. Kuan Shen smiled faintly and replied, "This junior really doesn't know. However, this junior has heard quite a bit about the disaster they caused in the Thunder Palace." Kuan Shen's words were full of sarcasm. Thunder Tablet Reverend was furious. Just as he was about to speak, Fairy Xianxia on the high platform spoke. "Tablet Reverend, as you can see, Kuan Shen is just a palace master of my Canlei Palace. If he has heard about the absurd matter of the 3 heroes of Myriad Thunder Valley, how can others not know?" This seat cleaned up the idle palace branches that the Imperial Thunder Sect had accumulated for many years for the sake of my Imperial Thunder Sect. Now that the Imperial Thunder Sect's strength has been greatly reduced, if we don't use some measures to boost the morale of the disciples of the various palace branches, my Imperial Thunder Sect will not be far from being destroyed. But since I want to clean up Myriad Thunder Valley, I have no choice but to do it. Think about it from my perspective. If it were you, how would you deal with it? Perhaps Fairy Xianhua's idea was good, and what she did was correct, but her mistake was that she had selfish motives, and her actions were rather sinister. If she had openly discussed with Thunder Tablet Reverend and the disciples of Myriad Thunder Valley, and told them the predicament of Imperial Thunder Sect and her own difficulties, Thunder Tablet Reverend and the disciples of Myriad Thunder Valley might have agreed. But Fairy Xianxia felt that as the leader of a sect, why would it be so troublesome to clean up a small palace branch? That was why she had caused so much trouble. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a reward, and I wish Wuxia a happy birthday, and also thank you fellow Taoists for your support of God cultivation. Chapter 51:19. Thunder Meng Daoist pondered for a moment and nodded. Sect Master, I understand what you're thinking. Even when Sect Master issued the Sect Master's order to hold the 100 Palaces competition, I still carried it out meticulously. If Myriad Thunder Valley was really eliminated in the 100 Palaces competition, according to the rules of the Sect Master's order, I wouldn't say anything. However, Sect Master didn't act according to the previous order and added a lot of things, which made me unable to explain to the disciples of Myriad Thunder Valley. Lei Meng. Seeing Thunder Meng Daoist refer to himself as subordinate, Fairy Xianxia felt much better. She smiled and said, eliminating the palaces is what we discussed earlier, but the 100 Palaces competition is only one of the methods to eliminate the palaces, not the only one. Alright. Of course, Thunder Meng Daoist couldn't argue with Sect Master Xianxia on the matters of the sect. Only an unwise person would do such a thing. He nodded and said, since Sect Master has already thought about it, I won't say anything more. However, regarding Myriad Thunder Valley, I hope Sect Master can be lenient. In the early years, Sect Master Qian Lazy said that Myriad Thunder Valley should be preserved forever. Oh. Fairy Xianxia stared blankly and asked curiously, Senior Brother Qian Lazy said that? When? Thunder Meng Daoist had already expected such a situation. He smiled and said, that day was the day Sect Master Qian Lazy stepped into the late nascent soul stage, and also the day Myriad Thunder Valley Xiaohua was expelled from the Imperial Thunder Sect. I went to chase after Xiaohua under Sect Master's order, and wasn't in the Great Thunder Palace. If Sect Master doesn't believe me, you can ask Fairy Xianfeng and Shang Yunzi to come and ask. That's not right. Fairy Xianxia shook her head and said, I was also in the Great Thunder Palace that day. Kuan Shen, go find the records of that day and see if Senior Brother Qian Lazy had issued the Sect Master's order or said anything. Yes, I understand. Kuan Shen accepted the order and left. Zhua Ying's eyes were filled with hope. She was also in the Great Thunder Palace that day, and these words were engraved in her heart. Unfortunately, in the time it took to drink a cup of tea, Kuan Shen came in with a few jade slips and bowed and said, Sect Master, there's another accident. What accident? Fairy Xianxia asked curiously. The records of Sect Master Qian Lazy's palace affairs are all kept in the Great Thunder Palace. However, when Sect Master Qian Lazy was struck by the lightning tribulation, he was inside the lightning pool. Although he used the lightning escape technique to fly out of the Great Thunder Palace, the lightning tribulation still affected the Great Thunder Palace. Kuan Shen explained, this disciple has already checked just now. Some of the Great Thunder Hall's palace affairs jade slips have been destroyed. The Great Thunder Hall disciples have already cleaned them up, and the jade slips from those few days just so happen to be among them. A cold smile appeared on Reverend Lei Meng's lips. This result was not out of his expectation. He nodded and said, if that's the case, then we can't check the jade slip. We'll have to ask Fairy Yao Feng to come and ask. Oh, by the way, Sect Master. This subordinate heard that Sect Master Qian Lazy was going to overrule your Sect Master order and personally summon Xiaohua back to the Imperial Thunder Sect. Could it be that the Sect Master order is also missing? Fairy Xianhua's eyelids twitched a few times, but she also restrained her anger and said in a low voice, Senior Brother Qian Lazy wanted to overrule the Sect Master's order I issued that day, but I expelled Xiaohua based on the sect law written by the founding ancestor of my Imperial Thunder Sect. Even Senior Brother Qian Lazy has nothing to say. Oh, this subordinate remembers now. Thunder Meng Daoist slapped his forehead and said, when Sect Master expelled Xiaohua that day, he also mentioned the sect law. Since it was written by the founder of the sect, this subordinate has nothing to say. As long as you know this Sect Master's difficulties. Fairy Xianxia smiled and nodded. Unfortunately, before she could finish, Thunder Meng Daoist changed the topic. Since Sect Master can expel Xiaohua based on the sect law written by the founder of my Imperial Thunder Sect, then my Thunder-Shocking Palace and Myriad Thunder Valley can also rely on the sect law written by the founder of my Imperial Thunder Sect to fight for a chance to leave our name. After saying that, Thunder Meng Daoist turned to Zhuo Wu and said, Wu Wu, take out the jade slip left behind by the founder of your Myriad Thunder Valley and show it to Sect Master. Yes, this disciple understands. Only then did Zhuo Wu come to his senses. He hurriedly and carefully handed over the ancient jade slip. Fairy Xianxia was really at a loss. She took the jade slip and scanned it with her divine sense. When she saw the contents, her face changed greatly. She stood up from the jade chair and said angrily, "Where did this sect law come from? How come this sect master has never heard of it?" Thunder Meng Daoist said indifferently, "Sect master, the 8 great thunder palaces of my imperial thunder sect have a long history. There are many things you don't know." This subordinate has already seen this jade slip and compared it with the jade slips left behind by the other founders in Thunder Shocking Palace. It is indeed left behind by the founder. If you don't believe me, you can ask the other 5 great Thunder Palace masters to check it. Thunder Meng. Fairy Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She said, "When did the founder say this? What year is it now? How can you take it seriously?" Thunder Meng Daoist smiled and asked, "Sect master, do the 8 great thunder palaces still exist?" "Yes." Fairy Xianxia was confused again. She didn't know why Thunder Meng Daoist asked this, but she answered naturally. "Then is Myriad Thunder Valley going to be cleaned up?" Thunder Meng Daoist asked again. Fairy Xianxia answered helplessly. She seemed to have understood something. "Yes." Suddenly, Cui Hongshan bowed and asked, "Then may I ask, Sect Master, was what you saw just now personally said by the founder of my Imperial Thunder Sect?" "Yes." Fairy Xianxia answered in a lower voice. "Then, in all these years, has any sect master of my Imperial Thunder Sect changed this sect law?" Cui Hongshan's voice was as calm as before. "No." Fairy Xianhua's voice was almost inaudible. She frowned. Cui Hongshan said no more and said respectfully, "Disciple thanks Sect Master for his teachings." After saying this, Cui Hongshan returned to the side of Fairy Joie. "Sect Master." The palace masters of Heavenly Thunder Palace looked at each other. Kuan Shen still took a step forward and bowed. "Which sect law was drawn up by the founder of Imperial Thunder Sect?" "Take a look." Fairy Xianxia handed the jade slip to Kuan Shen helplessly. Kuan Shen took the jade slip and scanned it with his divine sense. His expression changed slightly and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He then handed the jade slip to the palace masters beside him. When the other palace masters scanned it, Kuan Shen pondered for a moment and said, "Sect Master, even if the 7 thunders dazzling sun recorded in the jade slip was left behind by the founder of my Imperial Thunder Sect, it is no longer appropriate today. We can't take it seriously." "How is it no longer appropriate?" Fairy Xianxia heard this and immediately became spirited. She asked with interest, "Why don't you tell us?" The so-called 7 thunders dazzling sun means that if a sect wants to be established, it must first pass the tests of the other 7 thunders palaces. On the other hand, if a sect is to be eliminated, it can be retained if it can pass the tests of the other 7 thunders palaces. Kuan Shen explained, "When my Imperial Thunder Sect was first established, in order to ensure the stability of the Imperial Thunder Sect, the founder established this sect law. The most important thing is to prevent some sects from blindly establishing themselves independently. This 7 thunders dazzling sun does not specifically target sections. Moreover, my Imperial Thunder Sect is now a famous sect in the country of Xi. The establishment and elimination of a sect is not enough to affect the strength of my Imperial Thunder Sect. Therefore, this disciple feels that this sect law can be abolished." Thunder Talisman Daoist looked coldly at Kuan Shen and asked, "Kuan Shen, at this time, has this sect law been abolished?" No. Kuan Shen hesitated for a moment and didn't say anything more. Thunder Talisman Daoist had already questioned Fairy Xianxia, so he didn't need to be entangled in this matter. Just as Fairy Xianxia was frowning, rumble! Thunder rumbled outside the palace. Although separated by the restriction of the palace, everyone could still hear it clearly. Thunder Talisman Daoist sneered. Such an arrogant lightning escape technique. Who else could it be but Crazy Heaven Daoist? Sure enough, a moment later, without the need for the palace gods to report, Crazy Heaven Daoist barged into the palace. Before he could see clearly who was inside the palace, he shouted loudly, "Honorable Sect Master, what's the matter with you? This disciple and the others are waiting anxiously at the Thunder Plateau. Why haven't you gone over yet?" "Thunder Talisman Daoist? Why are you here?" Of course, at this point, Crazy Heaven Daoist saw Joie **** and the others and understood what was going on. He said coldly, "This old man understands now. So it's the disciples of Myriad Thunder Valley, who came to cause trouble in front of Honorable Sect Master. Since they've already been cleaned up, Why stay here and lose face? Crazy heaven. Thunder Talisman Taoist said indifferently. This is the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace, and you're not yet the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace. You can't make a ruckus here. Crazy Heaven Taoist rolled his eyes and said with an apologetic smile. Martial uncle, this junior is just anxious. You've been the Palace Master of Thunderous Palace for many years. This junior's but has yet to touch the jade chair of Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Master. Since you want to be the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace, then let's see how my Thunderous Palace will handle this matter. Thunder Talisman Taoist smiled and pointed at Kuan Shen. Let Kuan Shen explain it to you. Kuan Shen, quickly tell me what's going on? Crazy Heaven Taoist nodded and asked Kuan Shen. After Kuan Shen finished speaking, Crazy Heaven Taoist sneered. Isn't this easy to handle? 7 lightnings dazzling sun. Isn't it to let the other 7 lightning palaces, except for Thunderous Palace, find disciples to challenge Myriad Thunder Valley? Honorable Sect Master can issue a Sect Master's order to explain this matter, and pick out 7 disciples from each lightning palace to challenge Myriad Thunder Valley's disciples. As long as there are still disciples who are not afraid of death like Myriad Thunder Valley, they can also go to the Thunder Plateau. Now that the Thunder Plateau has merged and landed on the Thunder Mountain Range, if they want to fight, I'll let them. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a reward. You're tuning into the Wisdom Diary YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.